Calling the meeting to order. Meeting number 20250710R. Mr. Clerk, is the audio on? And are we ready to go?
Yes, it is. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Okay.
So for the music selection this evening by Vice Mayor Wasserman, the song is Miles on It by Kane Brown featuring Marshmello. The next music selection for the August 7th Commission meeting will be made by Commissioner Brody. We'd like to remind everyone to please silence your mobile devices. To help with sound quality, make sure you speak clearly and directly into your microphone, and mute your microphone when you're not speaking. If anyone is having trouble hearing at any point during the meeting, please raise your hand and someone will bring you an audio assistance device. Thank you.
Thank you. At this time, I'd like to invite Ms. Lennox Romer to join us on the stage, please, to lead us in our Pledge of Allegiance.
Allegiance to the flag of the United States of America, and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Well done, Lennox. Yep. Sure. Thank you. And I'd like to acknowledge Commissioner Joe McHugh from Carl Springs. Thank you. Okay. Hi, Joe. Thank you. And I'd also like to acknowledge we have Representative Humchowski in the audience as well. Thank you. Okay. Okay. Would you please call the roll?
Commissioner Rydell.
Here.
Commissioner Welch.
Here.
Commissioner Brody.
Here.
Vice Mayor Wasserman.
Here.
Mayor Raley.
Here.
City Manager Rose.
Here.
City Attorney Pyburn.
Here.
Thank you.
Sorry.
Sorry.
Sorry, Mayor. This meeting is being conducted live with a physical quorum present. The material for today's meeting is available online at www.coconutcreek.net. Anyone wishing to appeal any decision made will need a record of the proceedings, and for such purpose may need to ensure that a verbatim recording of the proceedings is made, including the testimony and evidence upon which the appeal is to be based. The archive of this meeting may be requested from the city clerk or may be heard online at coconutcreek.net. If you haven't already, please silence your mobile devices. If you must take a phone call, please excuse yourself and step outside. Respect and proper decorum will be maintained throughout the meeting. Vocal outbursts, jeering, cheering, or applause can impair the rights of others and derail the decision-making process.
Thank you. We have a presentation by Marlin Engineering regarding the Lyons Road Mobility Safety Pedestrian Lighting Project. Todd Edge, Public Works Senior Project Manager, will introduce Armando Aguilar from Marlin Engineering to conduct the presentation. Thank you.
Excuse me, Mayor, but while they're getting that presentation ready, I would just like to acknowledge the representatives from the MPO and MTech and personally thank the MPO for working on our behalf to get these funds from the federal government. So I wanted to point them out and make sure we thank them.
Yes, thank you.
Good evening. My name is Todd Edge, Senior Project Manager with the city's Public Works. The city is currently in the design phase for the federally funded Lyons Road Pedestrian Mobility Safety Project, or commonly known as the Lyons Road Pedestrian Lighting Project. Armando Aguilar from Marlin Engineering is here this evening to provide an overview of the project that is designed to provide pedestrian lighting along the west side of Lyons Road from just south of the Sawgrass Expressway, continuing south to just north of Atlantic Boulevard, following a path where the existing infrastructure is already in place through a previous project. May I present Armando Aguilar.
Thank you, Todd. All right, good afternoon. Thank you for the introduction, Todd. All right, everybody, so I'll go through the slides. I believe we have only pretty quick, but anyways, my name is Armando Aguiar. I'm the project manager, engineer record, consultant for Marling Engineering. I'm a consultant for MTech, as you mentioned. MTech is the lead on the project. And Todd Edge, our senior project manager from the city, administrating of this project. And we have Christine Franchi, the contract manager from MTech. This is the team that is leading the design and the project forward. All right, so the project limits, as you can see on the screen, is Lions Road, just north of Atlantic Boulevard to Wisdom Park Boulevard. There is an exception to the project, where you see in yellow there, where this will be later developed by a private developer that will be working on this area. All right, so what is the project? The installation of pedestrian lighting along the west side of Lions Road on the sidewalk. We're going to be utilizing some existing infrastructure that was there installed by the Florida Department of Transportation in 2019. The project intent is to enhance the safety and visibility for pedestrians and bicycles and all the users within the area. All right, so the light pole will be a metal, dark bronze painted. It will be tapered and rounded, 12 feet high, space approximately 80 feet pole to pole, and right now the count is estimated about 220 poles total. The luminaire is a Litonia, D-series, etc. It's an LED luminaire. We will be using house side shield basically to glare, to protect from the glare. It's a glare protection specifically in the areas where there's like a building or a house, so that the glare doesn't bother the residents. I'd like to mention too that the luminaire is actually being used throughout the city in different building the city facilities is already being used throughout the city, and so as well as is to standard with the Main Street standard that was set up for Main Street. All right, so it is federally funded. It's funded through the Department of Housing and Urban Development. As you can see, there's the breakdown for the funds. Right now, we're in the engineering portion of it, and construction is estimated at 2.8. Those are the funds. Construction is more or less close to those at the moment, based on the estimates we have. All right, so then the schedule. Schedule is currently, we are in Q3 2025. That's where we are, and we are 60% design at the moment. And we're heading to Q4, where it's estimated design completion. But basically, what that entails is the putting together the plans and getting all the permits necessary for the project. And then construction begins Q1 approximately, and completion in Q4 2026. All right, we do have a sample. I'll show it real quick. Light it up.
You're not 12 feet tall.
But don't be concerned, because they're going to be a little bit up there, and that's pretty normal. It looks big here, but once it's up there, it looks just like any other luminaire you see in the street. Any questions?
Do any of the commissioners have any questions, comments at this time? Sandy, go ahead. Commissioner
right.
Welsh.
Thank you. Thank you very much, and thanks for the presentation. And I brought to the Commission from today's MPO meeting the funds that have been federally funded projects throughout the county through the MPO. And Coconut Creek is on there twice. And, of course, this amount of this project is extremely significant. So we really appreciate it. And a long time waiting for this because the west side of the road now has, of Lyons, all now have sidewalks. So have pedestrian lighting will just make it complete. I did just have one question about the base of the light, but I understood from the illustration that it will not look like the illustration. It will be, well, I'll let you say. If you can go back to the illustration of
Sure.
the pole. The
Right.
base.
The what? Oh, no, the base, no. This is just a picture of specific
Well, I mean, it
location.
won't be out there on its own. It will be not a hazard, right?
So I don't understand the question. What did she say?
If you're asking about the base, the foundation,
The
it's a
foundation.
precast concrete.
It won't extend above the surface like in this picture. It won't.
Exactly.
It will be
'cause
flat.
The way it's illustrated here, it appears that it would be, so.
No, it's just because it's an actual picture from
Yes.
a location. But you're right. It will be flat with the sidewalk.
Level with the sidewalk.
Level. Yes, ma'am.
Perfect. Thank you.
Anyone else? Yes, Mayor Rydell and Josh, Commissioner Rydell.
I'm not going to ask you a question. I'm going to ask Harry, if you mind, our Public Works Director, a question, and it's my favorite question to ask. Harry, this upgrade, how much is this costing Coconut Creek taxpayers?
Should cost us, it was $35,000 to go through the MPO. There is a contingency that we had to apply towards the project if it's necessary, but our strategy is to de-scope if we have to eat into that contingency. So it should be $35,000.
And the total cost of the project?
$3.9 million.
Thank you, sir.
Yes, that's a significant gift to the city. Thank you so much. I'm sure our residents truly appreciate it. Thank you, the MPO. And looking forward to having that side of Lyons lit up. Thank you. Anyone else on commission? Anyone from the public would like to speak on this subject? Thank you. Yes, okay. Yes, please.
Real quick, you mentioned
Could
metal,
you
but you
please
didn't
state
specify.
your name?
Oh, sorry.
please?
Drew Phillips.
Thank you.
You mentioned metal, but not what type. So I'm just wondering about corrosive properties, things like that, as well as paint, whether that's powder coat or actual paint. And I understand the federal government's covering this, which is awesome. But how are we planning on maintaining them if it is corrosive and it's just, like a regular oil-based paint? How often are we planning on repainting in order to make sure that they don't deteriorate? That's all.
No, just because it's more like a maintenance question. Yeah. Oh, yeah. I mean, it would be aluminum, but it is painted. And no, yeah, but there's a little bit of a maintenance question there.
Yes, a little they come. There is a lifespan on the paint. Eventually, you will have to repaint. But most paints nowadays, you do get a substantial number of years out of it. I couldn't guess at this point, but a lot of the exterior paints are 10 years or so. But at some point, it is a antique bronze, dark bronze finish, rather than the black, because the black will look more chalky. So the antique bronze should look more of a patina as it ages.
Yes. And he just mentioned it will have a warranty as well. So.
Thank you. Anyone else? Yes.
Hi, Leanie Smith, 2465 Ginger Avenue. Township, Tamron Village. I'm sorry I didn't read all the backup to this item tonight, but I don't know if there was a site plan involved, but I know on the west side of Lyons, north of Copans, right across the street here, the subdivision backs up real close to the sidewalk, and the wall, I think you said this was 12 feet high, the height of it. And the only question is there a site plan yet, or am I ahead of the game? And how will this light affect the homes that back up right to the sidewalk there?
All right, so there is, we do have a 60% set of plans. Basically, it is the entire corridor, not just that one location, but you can definitely see that. Regarding how is it going to impact, it shouldn't impact. We are using house side shield to provide glare protection. So the illumination will be towards the sidewalk and the roadway. It's not going to spill back into the residential areas. This type of light also has different features, and the city could also make some adjustments, and it also has like different angles that you can set it, as I've shown.
Okay, thank you. Anyone else? All right, thank you. We'll move on now. There are no further questions. Thank you. Okay, next.
No?
Very cool. We have the honor of having a swearing-in ceremony for a new police officer, Christopher L. Carmichael. Chief Hofer will conduct the presentation. City Clerk Kavanaugh will administer the oath of office, followed by the badge pinning.
All right, good evening, Commissioners, Mayor, City Manager, City Attorney, City Clerk. Yes, tonight we swear in Officer Christopher Carmichael. And I'd like to invite him to the front center. Come on up, Chris. And while he's coming up, I just wanted to welcome his family and friends that are here to support him. We have officers from both Coral Springs and Broward Sheriff's Office here today. So that says a lot about the nature of the character of a high rate. No, go on up there. Oh. And then face this way so everybody can look at you. You got to take the heat off of me while they're right in the middle. So I get 3 minutes, please? Okay, so Officer Carmichael is a dedicated public servant with a strong background in law enforcement and customer service. He was proudly born and raised in Coral Springs, a graduate of Marjorie Stoneman Douglas High School, class of 2006. He holds a degree in criminal justice administration from Columbia Southern University. From an early age, Officer Carmichael was drawn to helping others and being outdoors. His commitment to service began as a participant in the Best Buddies program, where he was paired with special needs students, an experience that left a lasting impact and led to lasting relationships. At age 14, Christopher joined the Police Explorer program, which ignited his passion for law enforcement and set the foundation for his future career. At the same time, he began working at Publix as a bagger and steadily progressed to the role of Assistant Customer Service Manager. In 2012, he enrolled in the Public Service Aid Academy and, upon graduation, served the Coral Springs Police Department. While there, he earned multiple commendations, including the Customer Focus Award and 3 separate team citation awards. As a first-generation law enforcement professional, Officer Carmichael finds the greatest reward in the relationships he has built and the impact he has made within the community. Christopher thrives in dynamic, fast-paced environments where critical thinking, strategic problem-solving, and empathy are key. His goal has always been to support and protect others while promoting positive change. Outside of work, Christopher stays active through outdoor pursuits such as fishing, free diving, golfing, and hunting. He enjoys working out, playing in co-ed kickball league, and spending quality time with friends and family. He is also passionate about travel, having explored several Caribbean nations, and looks forward to visiting Europe in the near future, although he has to build his time off before leaving, of course. Officer Carmichael is excited to return to law enforcement with a renewed sense of purpose and a strong support system behind him. He is eager to learn from experienced field training officers and looks forward to contributing meaningfully to the team and the Coconut Creek community. Here to support Officer Carmichael tonight are his mother, Robin, his sister, Ann, friends, and previous command staff and coworkers. So let's have a round of applause for Chris. I don't think we've ever gotten a standing ovation. This is good. So now have the city clerk please administer the oath of office. And as he's walking up, I would invite, it's a tradition here in Coconut Creek that we invite all officers for the Coconut Creek Police Department inside the room to also reaffirm their oath to office to the city as well with Chris. I do solemnly swear that I will support, protect, and defend the Constitution of the United States and the state of Florida, and the ordinances of the city of Coconut, to hold office in the Constitution of the state. Perform the duties of police officer in the city of Coconut Creek, which I am now about to enter. So, would Chris's mom, Robin, come up front? She'll be panning Chris. And while she's doing that, would any family and friends like to come up and take a picture with Chris and his mom? Come on up.
For all you guys supporting me, my former command staff as well, for this contract with me. I would like all of you guys, if you guys would mind come up here. Smith, sincere, please.
Come on up. Don't be shy.
All right. Chris, just stay up there. Just stay up there. Now, can we get a picture with the commissioners? Yeah.
He was very surprised that there were so many guys.
Yeah. Yeah. That's a good sign, though. And Nick, he's the deputy chief. I was probably saying that well. So he's here. I talked to him about them, and he spoke highly. Yeah. And then can we just get one more photo with his new team? All the officers from Coconut Creek, come on up. One more.
Okay. I don't want to offend Coral Springs or any other city, but welcome to the best city in Florida. All right. Just stay safe, everyone. Next, we have a presentation by our state representative, Christine Anchovsky, regarding the 2025 state legislative session. Welcome, Representative Anchovsky.
Thank you, Mayor, and members of the commission, city manager. Thank you so much for being here. Lennox, you want to come up and join me while we do this? So first of all, with all the Coral Springs people who are here, I feel I need to wish Coral Springs a happy birthday. Coral Springs is 63 years old today. I would like to say Coconut Creek is the younger city, having been incorporated February 20th of 1967. But anyway, it's been nice seeing, and congratulations to the new officer and the team. So we had quite an interesting legislative session. Legislative session is normally a 60-day session, and this year we had an extra 45 days, so it became a 105-day legislative session. During that time, I was able to sponsor 10 bills that passed, a range of bills dealing with mental health, dealing with safety in schools, additionally allowing more social workers to be in the schools, and things like that. But there were several bills that were coming up that were difficult for the cities, and I would like to start off by thanking the city management. I want to thank Bernadette and everybody who helped, because there were bills coming up. I was on the committee that was dealing with housing, agriculture, and tourism. And unfortunately, we were having a lot of bills coming in there that were preempting the city's ability to regulate what can be built in the city and what that looks like. One of the examples were the accessory dwelling units. People generally love accessory dwelling units. However, the city should have the ability to say that they can't be for short-term rentals, and that was not part of the legislation that was in there. And they were also not allowing for the cities to regulate if they needed more parking. For example, if you were to build an accessory dwelling unit in your garage, the way the bill was written, the city would not have been able to regulate that you then have to provide parking somewhere else before you can do that. Luckily, at the last minute, that bill did not pass. It was one of those bills that went back and forth between the Senate and the House in the last hours, and then just never made it across the final hurdle that it needed. We were able to get some appropriations in the budget for the city. Unfortunately, they did not survive the governor's veto pen this go-around. We're working now with the governor's office to figure out where the issues were, so hopefully we can be prepared for the next legislative session. Something that was very important, I know, to this community were some of the changes in the condo regulations. So there was an amendment made to the condo bill that had already been in effect, and this legislation allows an association to utilize special assessments, lines of credit or loans in order to fund reserves. And that's important because it gives them more flexibility in how they're funding these reserves. So we're still accounting for making sure that the associations have the reserves they need for structural safety, but we're giving them flexibility in how that's financed because it's not usually something they're going to need right away. So they now have those opportunities. It also allows multi-condominium associations to use an approved alternative funding method to satisfy reserve funding obligations, so that's really important. Additionally, we were able to change the rules a little bit dealing with the MySafe Florida Home Condo Pilot Program. That was also one of the bills I sponsored that passed again, and we amended it so that you didn't need to have 100% approval from the association, but only 75% approval. And additionally, it could not be used by condominiums where they were lower than the 3 stories because the reserves were only mandated for 3 stories and more. So we're trying to help those condominium associations that have been dealing with the structural integrity reserves surpluses that they need. Additionally, the tax package was very interesting this session because normally we have a hurricane preparedness or disaster preparedness sales tax holiday. We don't have a disaster preparedness sales tax holiday per se anymore. However, some of the items that used to be part of that sales tax holiday are now permanently without sales tax. For example, batteries, smoke detection devices, carbon monoxide alarms, fire extinguishers, waterproof tarps, waterproof sheeting, portable gas cans. Those are things now that are permanently exempt from sales tax and not just during the sales tax holiday. The back-to-school sales tax holiday obviously couldn't occur in the beginning of June because we didn't have a tax package that had been approved yet by the beginning of June because of those extra 45 days. So instead, the full month of August will be when we have the back-to-school sales tax holiday, and that includes clothing under $100, school supplies under $50, and things like that. Additionally, as part of the tax package, the business rent tax was eliminated. This is something we heard from small businesses constantly, that we're one of the few states where they had to pay sales tax on their rent. So starting October 1st of this year, the business rent tax will be gone. Right now, we don't have any direction on what that looks like, so stay tuned. We're going to be sending out emails. If you're not getting our emails, please sign up for them. Otherwise, you can also go to the Department of Revenue's website to see information on that. Additionally, there's been a lot of talk about the property taxes. And our speaker put together a select committee on property taxes. I was fortunate to be one of the people who was appointed to that committee. And there continues to be discussions from, we're hearing it mostly from the governor's office, that they are still interested in doing something about property taxes. I think it's incredibly important that the public be educated on how property tax impacts the services that they have in their community. For example, on the Select Committee, we looked at very different cities throughout the state of Florida. There are over 400 cities in the state of Florida, and how they are structured from a revenue standpoint is completely different depending on what's the size of the city is, what they offer, and where they're located. So you have some cities in the state of Florida that are dependent on property tax to fund 99% of their budget. Then you have other cities and counties in the state of Florida that are 20 to 25% of their budget is from property tax. So you have to be very careful in, there is not really a one-size-fits-all in the impact that property tax has on any city. So I think it's very important that whatever they're trying to do, that is being taken into account. I think it's also important that the cities really work in the next year to educate their residents on what's funded. What many people don't know is you can go on any city's website, and look up their budget, and it's pretty transparent which line, where everything goes, where all the money goes, and then you can come to their city commission meetings, or you could email the commissioners and have answers about why they're spending a certain amount of money in certain places. The state budget, on the other hand, I don't know if you've seen it, it's hundreds of pages long. It's much more difficult to discern where all the money's going in the state budget and how that money's being spent. So I'm just concerned that this is something that will be taken up next session, that something will be put on the ballot, and I just want to make sure the communities are going to be ready for that. I don't know if there was anything else you wanted me to cover. I just wanted to give you a brief overview. If there is anything else you'd like to cover, I'm happy to answer any questions if I have answers to those questions.
Anyone? Yes, Commissioner Rydell.
Yeah, I don't excuse me. I just want to thank you for your brilliant and aggressive advocacy on everything Coconut Creek.
Thank you.
Always get us money. Sometimes it comes, and sometimes it doesn't. So I think it was a great update. I look forward to the intro update after the summer, because I know you're on that committee.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that committee is going to be super important for what happens for really South Florida cities who are more dependent on ad valorem taxes. So just thank you. Thank you. And I think I'd love to, I know your staff is here, Madam Rose. I'd love to hear in our August timetable, maybe we can do a little more something robust as like a 6:30, real legislative update after that tax, because that is significant. And I don't think people understand the need to activate on changing property taxes to sales tax and what that really looks like for everyday Floridians. But I don't want to talk about that now. I just want to thank you for, and you have a wonderful assistant. I don't know if you want to highlight anything with her, but I'm all ears for that as well.
She did a great job with the pledge earlier.
Yes. Thank you. Anyone else? Yes, Commissioner.
I did have a takeaway from the MPO meeting today, but I handed it off to Rep. Chosky, and there may have been a bit of confusion as to a bill that some funds were related to, so I appreciate your, and I will forward you more details to come. So thank you for that clarification.
Absolutely, and I thank you for bringing it to my attention. So I think a lot of people don't understand, like bills go back and forth, and then sometimes they make it, sometimes they don't. But what happens in the very last days of session is that all of a sudden bills that are coming back from the Senate or going from the House to the Senate have language in it that didn't exist all throughout session or came from other parts of other bills and are tucked into bills or tucked into tax packages or tucked into the budget. And the way the session went this year, because we didn't see the tax package till really late, we didn't see the budget until really late, and it was when we were all here and then had to go up and we had a quick debate on it and had to be done, that I think things were put in there that maybe the people who put them in there didn't fully understand the repercussions and the everyday impact of what they put in there, and I appreciate you bringing that to my attention. I know your lobbyist, Lauren Jackson, is here, and I know she and the team have been on top of it as well, so hopefully the things that had unintended consequences can be reverted so that the consequences are good and intended.
If all of them were only that easy, right?
Yes. Thank you. Thank you, Representative Hunchowski, for your constant advocacy on our behalf. We would truly appreciate it. Thank you.
Thank you. It's an honor to represent this fantastic city, and I appreciate all your advocacy, everybody coming up, either for Broward Days or emailing or just calling me and letting me know things to look out for. This is, for the residents who may not realize it, this is a team sport, and it's wonderful when we're all working together, because that's how we can serve the residents best. Thank you so much.
Absolutely. Thank you. Thank you. Okay. At this time, we'll now have input from the public on non-agenda or consent agenda items. I remind everyone wishing to speak that all comments must pertain to city business. Respect and proper decorum will be maintained. Behavior that disrupts the orderly conduct of this meeting, such as clapping, shouting, booing, and cheering, is not permitted. Any person who violates the decorum rules will be subject to removal from the commission chambers. City Clerk Kavanaugh, is there anyone who has signed in to speak on non-agenda or consent agenda items?
Yes, Mayor, we have 2 speakers signed up this evening. The first speaker is Christopher Wachowski, and the second speaker is Marie Lagalante.
Okay. If you are present, please come to the microphone. Thank you.
God be with us, commissioners, vice mayor, mayor, city clerk, city manager, city attorney. My name is Christopher Wachowski. I live in Country Lakes. I believe in Mr. Rydell's district.
Excuse me, would you mind getting closer to the microphone,
yes.
please?
How's that?
Thank you.
Is that better? Hello?
Better. Yes, thank you.
Should I start over?
You're fine.
Okay. Hi, Mr. Rydell. I think I belong in your district. There's a major issue with one of the city lift stations near my home, and the utilities department has done a tremendous effort trying to fix it the last couple months, and I just wanted to bring it to your attention if there's any assistance you can offer to them to remediate this problem. I would greatly appreciate it. Thank you.
Tell me what the issue is. I mean, you got time, so.
There's just a very strong sewage smell almost when I wake up in the morning, go to work. If I'm not working that day and I'm at home, it's during the day. At nighttime, it seems like the only time it's not happening is when the wind's blowing like away, the opposite direction, which is not often, unfortunately.
Mayor, if I may just briefly?
Yes.
Is Randall here? Where's Randall? Where is he? Randall, may you, if that's okay? Chris, thank you for coming. Our Deputy Director of Utilities and Engineering is here. I'm going to actually walk down and give you my card. I'd love to talk to you. It's the first I'm hearing of it, but I think he's a great resource to talk to. May I, Mayor?
Yes.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Nice to meet you.
Do you have any questions for me?
Thank you.
Randall, if you could just try to help him either outside or in the back. Thank you.
Thank you. Yes. Anyone else?
And the second speaker is Marie Lagalante.
Okay. All right, thank you. Anyone else that would like to speak on non-agenda or consent agenda items? Okay, thank you. We are now closed. Thank you so much. Now, because for the consent agenda items. A motion approving the minutes from previous city commission meetings, 2025-0522R, 2025-0612WS, and 2025-0612R. Next, Resolution 2025-63, a resolution authorizing the mayor and city manager or their designees to execute a reciprocal use agreement with the School Board of Broward County, providing for reciprocal use of city facilities and school board facilities for a term of 5 years. Number 6, Resolution 2025-093, a resolution authorizing the city manager or designee to execute the attached agreement with Officer Brian J. Valenti for the purchase of AK-9. 7, Resolution 2025-101, a resolution accepting certain utility easements over, across, through, in, and under a portion of land lying within the Working Man's Nursery plat relating to parcel number 4842050900010, located in Broward County, Florida, more particularly described in Composite Exhibit 1 for the 4161 Hillsborough Storage Project. Number 8, Resolution 2025-102, a resolution authorizing the mayor and the city manager or their designees to execute the interlocal agreement with Broward County for Broward County-wide integrated water resource plan funding, providing cost-share funding to support the construction of the reclaimed water system in the Main Street development. Are there any items the Commission wishes to pull from the consent agenda? If not,
move consent.
Second.
Thank you. Is there a motion? And we have a motion and a second. Let's call the roll, please.
Commissioner Rydell.
Yes.
Commissioner Welch.
Yes.
Commissioner Brody.
Yes.
Vice Mayor Wasserman.
Is she still there?
His mic is muted. So we will skip Vice Mayor Wasserman at the moment. We'll go to Mayor Raley.
Yes. Shall we wait for Vice Mayor Wasserman's vote?
Yes.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you, Vice Mayor.
So 5-0.
All right, number 9. Yeah, Ordinance 2025-022. This is the second reading. It's a public hearing. City Attorney Pyburn will read the title. Thank you.
Thank you, Mayor. An ordinance of the City Commission of the City of Coconut Creek, Florida, authorizing the mayor to execute the Second Amendment to the lease agreement by and between the City of Coconut Creek and New Singular Wireless PCS, LLC, successor in interest to AT&T Wireless Services of Florida, Inc., which provides for modification of the equipment on the tower at Lakeside Park, subject to all other terms and conditions provided therein, providing for recordation, providing for conflicts, providing for severability, and providing an effective date.
Move it.
Second.
Thank you. Moved by Commissioner Rydell, seconded by Commissioner Welch. Thank you. We will have,
Good evening, Mayor. There's no further presentation this evening, but I'm here for questions.
yes, please. No further presentations at this time. Okay, thank you. Are there any questions from the City Commission?
I just see Cityscape, right? Okay, she's here. So I just wanted to acknowledge Cityscape for being consistently good
Cityscape
with
is
our wireless
here.
issues. So thank you
Great.
for being here as always. I have nothing further on the item.
Yes. We always appreciate our vendors being present. Thank you. Okay. Okay, now we will open the public hearing. Is there anyone from the public that wishes to speak on this item? Seeing no one? Public hearing closed. Thank you. Are there any further questions or comments from the commission? Thank you. Mr. Kavanaugh, would you please call the roll?
Commissioner Rydell.
Here.
Commissioner Welch.
Yes.
I retracted back to just getting here. I was like deja vu. Yes, I apologize, Mayor.
No worries.
Yes, it's
No
a yes
worries.
vote.
Commissioner Welch.
Well, Sandy.
You made us start over? All right, for the second time, yes.
Okay.
Commissioner Brody.
Yes, and I thought this would be the fast.
Yes.
Vice Mayor Wasserman.
Yes.
Mayor Raley.
Yes. Resolution 2025-103, a resolution authorizing the city manager or designee to execute an agreement with CROM, LLC, DBA, CROM Coatings and Restorations to provide labor and material for the relining of the water storage tank located at 4801 Hilton Road pursuant to invitation for bids. Number 0528-25-11.
Move it.
Second.
Okay. Moved by Commissioner Rydell, seconded by Commissioner Brody.
And Randall Blanchard's here to make a presentation.
And Randall Blanche is here to make our presentation. Thank you.
Good evening, everybody.
Good evening.
Thank you for having me. Again, my name is Randall Blanchett. I am the Assistant Director of the Utilities and Engineering Department. The city's Hilton Road water storage tank was designed and constructed back in 1984. It's kind of a birthday present for me. That's when I was born. Maintenance previously has been done as part of our natural maintenance budget for the water distribution and water quality system in our department. As of right now, the interior wall and tank was relined 12 years ago to prevent leaks and to maintain water quality. The liner currently has surpassed its 10-year useful life expectancy and is showing signs of stress and visible water leaks. The tank tank is in need of relining, which was included in the FY25 budget. To help budget better in the future, the city is planning to program a 10-year rotating fund for this project so that we can better fund it in the future. On May 4th, the city issued an invitation for bid for construction services relating to the relining of this tank. It closed on May 28th with one bidder, Crom LLC, in the amount of $937,600, which includes a 5-year warranty on the construction of the relining. We have a representative here from Crom, Cameron, in case you have any questions at the end. We only received one bid because relining of water storage tanks is a hyper-specialized process. City staff thoroughly reviewed the bid for compliance and found no issues. It is important to note that the contractor providing the bid is the same contractor that both designed the tank originally and installed the previous lining, which surpassed the expected 10-year life expectancy. The contractor's incentive is available for any questions, and I'm available also. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Yes, Commissioner Rydell.
Thank you. I'm just going to, so Randall, we had a chance to speak briefly before the meeting, and this isn't, I appreciate the vendor being here as always. My comments are going to be more unique to the future planning of the city, and I just want to share with my colleagues some of the thoughts I had with that I think is important. This is a high dollar item, necessary. Thank you for highlighting kind of some of the deficiencies that were happening and things of that nature. The only thing that I was troubled with as an elected official is that this isn't something, you know, we sit through these very long all-day budget workshops looking at capital improvement projects. At least what I've been presented, this has never been in that, right? So my first question is, when's the other tank going to be up for this expenditure? Do you know that offhand? Or, I mean, it really has to do with the expected useful life of the tank. Is that?
So that tank, the one on Hillsborough, is also designed and built by Crom. At this point, we don't see the need for relining it because the current maintenance that we're doing with that tank will extend it. But we are doing investigations to see when that will be done, and so we're going to add that to our program budget.
So thank you for the answer, and I think our utilities and engineering staff have always been ahead of the curve. We're not a Fort Lauderdale, we're not a Hollywood, and I don't say that to be, you know, to cast aspersions or stones. I say it because we are always ahead of it. What I would like to see, and I'm really direct this to Madam Rose, and we had this conversation, is this is something that I would expect to see in a capital improvement budget, as a capital improvement project. There's $1 million big ticket item. This should be something that we're talking about a couple of years ago, and I understand the U&E budget is different and earmarked differently, but when we're talking about a big ticket item like this, a necessary big ticket item, I just want to make sure that, hey, during the budget process, we're saying we got $1 million to spend on this item. It's going to come in, you know, in 2027 with the other one, and I'm curious to see that when we can anticipate that. I'm always troubled when I see one bidder. But I appreciate our city manager directing me down a deep rabbit hole that you guys are like crazy. I mean, your list of municipalities that you've serviced for water towers is longer than my arm. So I give you a lot of credit for that as a vendor. They're definitely a qualified vendor, and it definitely is hyper unique. I wanted to put that on the record because normally when we have one bid and this is a significant expenditure, you wonder why. So Randall, I appreciate you clarifying that. I would just say I'd like to see this on our future capital improvement project rollout during budget, just so I can anticipate this, understanding it's needed. I fully support the item. Thank you, Madam Mayor. Welcome, Vice Mayor.
Yes. Okay. Yes, thank you. I would like to know, how do we come to the realization that we need replacing the liner?
Thank you for that question. Cromac's actually been with us doing spot maintenance on the tank for the last couple of years, and that helps extend the life. So that's why we're past the 10-year mark, and at this point, the spot repairs are not getting rid of the hidden cracks in the walls, and that's why we have to remove it and do a new liner.
Okay. Thank you very much. Thank you. Any further questions? All right. Thank you. Can we please call the roll? Mr. Kavanaugh.
Commissioner Rydell.
Yes.
Commissioner Welch.
Yes.
Commissioner Brody.
Yes.
Vice Mayor Wasserman.
Yes.
Mayor Raley.
Yes. Number 11, Resolution 2025-084, a resolution authorizing the city manager or designee to execute an interlocal agreement with the City of Margate, providing for coordination between the City of Coconut Creek's South Creek Neighborhood Improvements Project and the City of Margate's Water Main Improvements Project in the South Creek area, located between Lyons Road and Florida's Turnpike, and between Coconut Creek Parkway and Atlantic Boulevard. Is there a motion and a second?
Move it.
Second. Oh, I defer.
Okay, thank you. Moved by Commissioner Welch, seconded by Vice Mayor Wasserman. Thank you, Rendell Blanchette, again for our presentation.
Good evening again. South Creek lies within the Coconut Creek municipal boundaries and within Margate's water and wastewater service area. For many years, Margate has been in the planning process to rehabilitate the water lines in South Creek. In 2023, Margate completed phase 1 of their water main improvement project, which included the pipes shown on the map here in blue. Coconut Creek is currently in the planning stage of their South Creek neighborhood improvement project, which includes multiple features such as traffic calming, resurfacing, widening of bridges. Construction of this project is scheduled to begin in FY29. In response to resident frustrations and multiple meetings with Margate to facilitate completion of their work in South Creek, followed by multiple delays, and to avoid duplicating roadway restoration within our rights-of-way, Coconut Creek approached Margate to come to an agreement on coordinating the timing of our respective projects. Under this ILA, Margate will complete all infrastructure work in South Creek by December 31st, 2028, and will restore the areas directly affected by the work as long as the project is completed by the stated deadline. Coconut Creek agrees to waive all engineering fees for this project to help facilitate it. Afterwards, Coconut Creek will handle milling and resurfacing of all the neighborhood roads as part of the South Creek Neighborhood Improvement Program. This coordinated effort helps expedite the completion of Margate's utilities work in South Creek, promotes efficiency between the cities, and minimizes disruption to our residents. On June 18th, earlier this year, City of Margate's Commission has approved this interlocal agreement already on their consent agenda. Thank you.
Hi. Thank you very much. Any questions? Yes, Vice Mayor Wasserman.
No, thank you so much. And City Clerk Kavanaugh, thank you so much for accommodating me in the first 45 minutes. Really appreciate it. Really smooth. Awesome. Good to be here. No, I want to say props to our city manager and our city for doing this with Margate. Our residents of South Creek have been, there's a lot of information bouncing back and forth, not right, nobody knows really what's going on. So to have this documented, to have this, them agree, we agree, kind of puts us in the right direction, kind of gives people a hope, a peace of mind. 2028 is a long way away, but things take time. So I appreciate what you guys have done. I appreciate what you've done as well. And I look forward to seeing this deal actually coming to fruition very much. So thank you.
Thank you. Anyone? Yes, Commissioner Welch.
And we may live to see it, Vice Mayor Wasserman, which is even more unbelievable. But it did take a village, because I have to tell you, I wouldn't have given it much encouragement to get to the steps that it is today. And then the folks can have their remilling and their traffic calming devices that they've been waiting for. I did just have one question, and it doesn't really have to do with a little to this. The map that you have up now, is all of the ranches, I know they're on septic, but do all of them have the potable water lines to their homes?
I would have to get back to you on that. I don't know the specifics on that.
Okay, thank you.
Okay. Thank you. Yes, Commissioner Rydell.
I wasn't going to chime in. I'm just going to piggyback on Commissioner Welch's comment. I just want to confirm, really, with our city manager, understanding that there's a and Vice Mayor, I'll defer to you on this, there's really a hotbed two-side discussion in terms of traffic calming, how much and where.
Sure.
So I just want to say this, that is something that isn't being formalized tonight and could be hashed out in better detail down the road, Madam Rose?
I would suggest that several years ago we did a traffic calming study to locate various traffic calming devices. We only implemented temporary ones. This would allow us to install the permanent ones as designed. There will be formal design as part of this process of the resurfacing, and that'll include the location and public engagement to make sure they're consistent.
I'm going to ask the question very simply again. Passing the item tonight doesn't lock in where and what is going to be for the purposes of traffic calming, correct?
Correct.
That's going to be at a later date, correct?
Correct.
Those are the calls I got from South Creek. I defer to Vice Mayor Wasserman. Thank you, Mayor.
Yes, Vice Mayor Wasserman.
When will Madam Rose, when will we see public outreach, or in a tentative timeline, right? When would public outreach start to happen to gather those thoughts and opinions?
So the public outreach would occur as part of the design process for the resurfacing project. So as you know, and that would be 2027. So it's at least a year off.
Okay.
Thank you. I want to say this is a perfect example of two cities working together to save the residents time and money. Thank you. Any further questions from Commission? Thank you. Great. Mr. Kavanaugh, would you please call the roll?
Yes. Commissioner Welch?
Yes.
Commissioner Brody?
Yes.
Vice Mayor Wasserman?
Yes.
Mayor Raley?
Yes. We are now going to consider several quasi-judicial items. Will the city attorney please explain the city's quasi-judicial procedures?
Thank you, Mayor. First, I want to remind everyone to silence your mobile devices. Florida courts have determined that there are certain types of matters, including Agenda Item 12 and 13 on tonight's agenda, that are to be treated differently than other items considered by the Commission. In these quasi-judicial applications, the Commission is applying existing rules and policies to a factual situation and is therefore acting like a judge and jury do in a trial held in the courtroom. In such cases, the courts have decided that due process and fundamental fairness require that more formal procedures be followed. The City Commission's decision must be based on the evidence and information that is presented at the public hearing, including the agenda materials, Planning and Zoning Board recommendation, testimony presented at the public hearing, and the deliberations of the City Commission. The quasi-judicial procedures require that the Commission consider the evidence presented to it and base their decision on the applicable law and primarily on credible evidence presented whether by staff, the applicant, or members of the public. In a quasi-judicial proceeding, the City Commission is not allowed to take into consideration public sentiment or the popularity of a particular development proposal or application. The City Commission may only consider competent substantial evidence. This means testimony or other evidence that a reasonable mind would accept as credible and adequate to support a conclusion. Florida courts have made it clear that mere generalized statements of opposition are to be disregarded, but fact-based testimony can be considered competent and substantial evidence. This can include eyewitness observation testimony about relevant facts and documentary evidence, including photographs, aerials, and maps. Citizens who want to participate in a quasi-judicial hearing can testify as to factual matters in any element of the case that would not require specialized training or specific academic degrees. Their testimony will be considered, provided their testimony is backed up by established facts, studies, or evidence that is not conjecture or just based on a feeling. The quasi-judicial hearing process is not a popularity contest. The strict rules of evidence do not apply during the public hearing, but any comments must be relevant to the agenda item. Proper decorum is required and will be maintained at all times. Please refrain from vocal outbursts, jeering, cheering, or applause. Everyone who seeks to speak on an item will be given an opportunity to speak. If you intend to provide testimony as to any of the applications to be considered tonight, you will be sworn in before your testimony is taken. Please know if you speak, you may be subject to cross-examination. The City Commission may comment or ask questions of persons addressing the Commission at any time. If you refuse to either be cross-examined or to be sworn, your testimony will be considered in that context and given its due weight. The general public will not be permitted to cross-examine witnesses, but may request that the Commission direct questions on their behalf to the applicant or staff. Will the clerk please confirm compliance with the notice requirements?
The city has satisfied the legally required public notice for the public hearings for agenda items 12 and 13.
And Clerk Kavanaugh, will you please swear in the witnesses?
Will anyone wishing to speak on any of the quasi-judicial items, that being 12 and 13, please stand and raise your right hand? Do you swear or affirm to tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
Yes.
When you come forward to speak, please state your name and address clearly for the record. State whether or not you've been sworn in and whether or not you understand the rules of the proceedings. Thank you.
Thank you. We will now hear agenda item 12. Ordinance 2025-026. City Attorney.
Thank you. An ordinance of the City Commission of the City of Coconut Creek, Florida, adopting the Vincamolder Neighborhood Master Plan prepared by Bermelo Ajamil, amending, I thought someone was correcting me. I'm sorry if I got that name wrong. Amending the Code of Ordinances of the City of Coconut Creek by amending Chapter 13 Land Development Code, Article 3, Zoning Regulations, Division 1 generally, Section 13-295 definitions, providing for new definitions, and Division 2 zoning classifications and general requirements, Section 13-319 zoning overlay areas by enacting subsection 13-319C4 Vinkelmulder Equestrian Neighborhood Overlay Area, adopting a zoning overlay area for the area generally located south of Wiles Road, west of Tradewinds Park, north of the Florida Power and Light easement, and east of Lyons Road, and excluding the San Molina and Coquina subdivisions, and implementing the standards and policies that guide development of the Vinkelmulder neighborhood within the property legally described in the enacting language, providing for conflicts, providing for severability, providing for codification, and providing an effective date. This item is before you at this time for first reading, first public hearing, and is quasi-judicial.
Thank you. Do we have a motion and a second?
Move it.
Second.
Thank you. Moved by Commissioner Rydell, seconded by Commissioner Welsh.
Are there any disclosures? I guess technically this is our item, so.
Okay.
But
Anyone?
Thank
No
you.
disclosures. Thank you. Now, okay. The city staff, Justin? Yes, Justin Prophet will now make a presentation on agenda item 12. Thank you.
Good evening, Mayor and Commission. This is Justin Prophet, Director of Sustainable Development. I just want to first start off by, I think I see some familiar faces in the room, thank everyone in the Vinkelmulder neighborhood who has participated in this community planning effort over the last 2 years. They've attended community input meetings, multiple community input meetings. We had multiple public hearings at the Planning and Zoning Board. We've received calls, we've received emails, so I just want to thank everyone involved. It is truly a involved neighborhood and an active neighborhood who really, and they really obviously care about what happens in the neighborhood. So just an introduction before we get into our presentation. The neighborhood is perhaps one of the most unique neighborhoods in our city. It's amongst the hustle and bustle of all of the more urban areas of our city. It's surrounded by that. It's also adjacent to Tradewinds Park. And I'm not sure if you're familiar with what's happening in Tradewinds Park, but this community planning effort is coming along around the same time that Tradewinds is working on their equestrian trails, and they are also building out their farm-related activities. They have longer-term plans to enhance that portion of the park next to this neighborhood with public meeting venues, a garden, an open-air auditorium, an animal barn, water features, and picnic pavilions. And as you may know, there are equestrian connections between this park and this neighborhood. So this effort and the establishment of the equestrian overlay is really complementary with what's happening in this area. As you know, this neighborhood, the Vinkelmulder neighborhood, is predominantly rural estate single family. It's got mostly agricultural A1 zoning. There are a few properties that have a single family RS1 zoning. In 2023, the City Commission, recognizing that uniqueness of this area, directed city staff to initiate a neighborhood study to address ways to preserve this area and to preserve the equestrian and rural character as well. Knowing that the increased development pressures were coming, and they are calling and they're knocking on our door, and so we were charged with studying that. To prepare the study and the master plan, the city utilized the expertise and professional services of one of the city's architects, urban design, landscape design professional services, Josh Rack here, from Bermello Ahamil Incorporated, and Randy Hollingsworth, who's not here tonight, unfortunately. But Josh led the study and led the community meetings and prepared the master plan and the overlay ordinance in coordination with the city staff. Josh is going to present a summary of the neighborhood master plan. He's going to fire up the PowerPoint here, and then when he gets to a certain point, I'm going to take back over and go over the overlay ordinance, and then I will present city staff findings and recommendation. So Josh, if you can come up and introduce yourself and Take it away there.
Thank you, Justin. My name is Joshua Rack, a senior planner with Bermeo Ahamil, 4711 South Lejeune, Miami, Florida. So today we're here to talk a little bit about, as Justin mentioned, the Vinca-Mulder Neighborhood Master Plan and Overlay District, which is the culmination of almost 2 full years of community planning here in the city. A brief project overview to get everyone up to speed. When we take a look at the Vinca-Mulder neighborhood, like Justin mentioned, it's really a neighborhood with a very unique identity. Not one that's similar anywhere else in South Florida, really. As part of our tasks, we've been charged to preserve the equestrian agricultural unique character of this neighborhood. And through the master planning process, we were going to develop a clearer vision, but with the neighborhood as our partners. And I've seen a lot of the partners here today, hopefully in support of the master plan. And lastly, we've been tasked to consider the development of planning recommendations that will guide the preservation of this unique character, new improvements, and internal connectivity in and around the neighborhood. So the scope of work that we've been hired to provide is really to develop a community master plan for the Vinca-Mulder neighborhood. As I mentioned, it was to guide development in a way that preserves the neighborhood's rural and equestrian character, and through those master planning efforts then develop a zoning overlay for the city's zoning code, which would adopt a master plan that's aligned with the recommendations and also guided by the community's input through our public engagement process. The key objectives were to protect the area's unique identity, promote sustainable, low-impact development in line with the neighborhood's character, and enhance safety, mobility, and quality of life for residents and business owners in the Vinca-Mulder neighborhood. The key project milestones dating back to fall of 2023, we held a project initiation and kickoff to the process. We returned back to our studio and conducted an existing conditions analysis and summarized our preliminary findings based on our site visits, which we held over the course of that fall. In return, we did a development of draft planning recommendations and overlay language, working with your staff and then coming back and working with the community to refine those details. And then today we present the final master plan and the zoning overlay. Just briefly, I want to highlight the actively engaged community. This group in this community, the Vinca-Mulder neighborhood, they were calling Justin, emailing us, reaching out. They participated in 2 public workshops held in November of 2023 and a follow-up of March of 2024. I was actively participated. We did a series of table sessions and developed what we would be calling the community's vision plan. So there was 2 tables. There was probably 30 to 40 people participating with markers and Post-it notes and making notes, and many of you who were able to attend as part of that effort. It was really a fulfilling effort to kind of hear everyone's input. They're the experts in their neighborhood, and they were able to provide key recommendations that they will find as part of the master plan recommendations. So at the end of the public workshops, we were able to kind of divide up all of the input from the community's master plans that you see there on the left into the 5 main master plan guiding themes. So the input that we received centered on traffic management and safety, equestrian amenities and trail management, neighborhood identity and character preservation, infrastructure connectivity improvements, and environmental and community concerns. So when we went back and we summarized all of the different input, we were able to highlight all of that input under one of these 5 categories. And as a result of that analysis, we developed more refined key recommendations. And so I'm going to go through each of the recommendations briefly and just give you an idea of some of the improvements that were requested and developed through the master planning process with the community. The first is the establishing a more beautiful neighborhood entrance along Wiles Road at the intersection of Northwest 39th Avenue. That's the community's front door, so it may include new proposed textured material crosswalk, entry feature signage, enhanced landscaping to kind of announce that you're entering a neighborhood that's special and unique in Coconut Creek, and then establishing a more robust, enhanced multi-use trail. I would like to point out that the multi-use trail is consistent with the city's Trailways Master Plan, so this is a trail that's used to connect into the neighborhood and then elsewhere outside of the neighborhood, including Tradewinds Park. Moving south to the intersection of Vinkenmulder Road and Northwest 39th Avenue, you see the continuation of that proposed trail landscaping and enhanced multi-use trail. Safe proposed textured materials crosswalks. These were intended to be safe for pedestrians and also horse crossing, because there is a lot of horse traffic in the neighborhood. So those materials need to be carefully selected so that they're safe for everybody. Additional enhanced landscaping and also horse crossing lights and signs so that you can see people on horseback, signage or lights that announce that not only are you looking for cars and pedestrians, bicyclists, but also people on horseback. Continuing further to the south at Northwest 43rd Street and Northwest 39th Avenue, this is really the kind of termination at the southern boundary of the neighborhood, and it connects to kind of a natural pathway moving south towards the FPL easement. So you might find another entrance feature signage, more horse crossing signage and lighting, enhanced greenway, and also trail landscaping to make it a more enjoyable and kind of naturalistic feel in the neighborhood. With regards to the city-owned 5-acre parcel, there was a lot of talk in the neighborhood master planning sessions to developing a potential turnaround area at the end of the street. So for those of you who are familiar with the neighborhood on the western terminus of Northwest 43rd Street, it just kind of ends at a property. And a lot of larger vehicles servicing the different businesses and large farming properties in the area are hauling trailers with horses and machinery. And so the idea here would be that there could be an enhanced turnaround similar to that which is at the western terminus of Vinkenmulder Road, 1 block to the north. The final project recommendation as part of the Vinkenmulder Master Plan is to create an access control gate or fence along Wiles Road. There were concerns amongst the community that horses sometimes get loose from their fencing, and if they were to get loose in the unfortunate circumstances that they were loose, that there could be a fence along Wiles Road that would keep them within the neighborhood from entering into the traffic right-of-way. This is parallel to an existing equestrian trail identified in your Trailways Master Plan, and we felt it would be a good opportunity to provide some additional community identity. As you're driving by on Wiles Road, you see kind of a unique fence feature that announces that you're traveling near a special place within the city. So at the conclusion of the master planning process, we began developing the zoning overlay district. And to quickly summarize this, really it's the implementation arm to adopt the master plan that preserves and enhances the equestrian character and rural ambiance of the Vinkenmulder neighborhood. I'd like to point out that it does align with the community's vision and input in the community's master plans that we showed in the previous slides, promoting a safe, responsible, and equestrian-focused community. And lastly, I just want to make note that it does reinforce the community identity without imposing additional restrictions on property owners through the land development regulations. With that said, I'm going to hand it over to Justin, and he's going to present the final few slides.
Thank you, Josh. If you could just go to that. There you go. Thank you.
Thank you very much.
So I just a little bit more, Mayor, and I'll
Sure.
be finished. I'll finish up quick. So one of the things we want to talk about, I think, is so there's two important components to this. One of the components is that zoning map amendment rezoning, which is the essentially establishing that overlay ordinance. But the other important part, which I think is even more important, are the conceptual neighborhood improvements. So through all of the community input and Josh and his team, when they put it all together and they synthesized all of the input, they came up with all of the recommended conceptual neighborhood improvements. And in this fiscal year, we put a placeholder in the budget and for going forward in future fiscal years, and we're thinking it's most appropriate. I say 26. I think it's more likely FY27 to get some of the more accurate costs and the final list of these neighborhood improvements in our budget. But what I just wanted to do is highlight what some of those were, and we've got an initial cost of $250,000, but that needs to be vetted out even further as we start to get actual project cost estimates and designs in place. And I also want to say that these recommendations are not set in stone, and they are, for example, the roundabout on 43rd. That's an idea. That's something that was brought up in the community meetings, but there is room for adjusting some of these things. But this is a summary of what we heard. For example, I think one of the most important improvements that we heard in terms of safety and trail safety was some kind of fencing or barrier to protect the folks on horses who are going along the north side of the neighborhood. There's no barrier along Wiles Road, so if you're on a horse, that could be a dangerous situation. That's just one example. There are other things in there. Just as simple as trail enhancement signage. Some ground rules for when you're on a trail. If this is a horse area, you don't want people on motorbikes on the same area, things like that. These are some of the things you have to think about when you're looking at an equestrian district. So this is the budgeted sheet, and we'll be working on this after adoption of the master plan going forward to get better costs. But this just gives you an idea of what we're thinking. If you could hit the next slide. And then finally, we'll just wrap this up with staff findings and recommendations. So this, we did look at our land development code. We looked at our rezoning standards and the standards for establishing an overlay ordinance. This request, this master plan is consistent with the rezoning standards in our land development code. The master plan, the rezoning, and the overlay ordinance, it is also consistent with our comprehensive plan. We had 2 public hearings at the Planning and Zoning Board. This master plan and ordinance was approved at the February 12th, 2025 Planning and Zoning Board. Between the Planning and Zoning Board and tonight, there have been some pretty significant changes to the overlay ordinance because the state legislature adopted new legislation in Senate Bill 180. Essentially, that boils down to we had to take anything out of the overlay ordinance that is deemed more restrictive in terms of zoning and land development. So that doesn't mean that the overlay ordinance no longer serves a purpose, because it does. The first thing it does is it adopts the master plan, so now we have that as a guiding principle for the neighborhood. It also establishes an equestrian character and overlay for this district. So going forward, we know what the brand and the theme of the neighborhood should be. And it will also amend our zoning map as well to reflect this overlay. So we do think it serves as an important tool going forward. So that's the staff's presentation, and I think we'll wrap it up from there. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Thank you, Justin. Great job. We will now open the public hearing. Are there any members of the public who would like to speak on agenda item 12? Please identify yourself, state whether or not you have been sworn in, and whether or not you understand the rules of the proceedings.
Yes, Mayor, we had 2 individuals signed up to speak on this agenda item this evening. The first individual is Andy Cody.
Thank you. Please come to the microphone. Oh, Joe.
I just had a couple of questions. My name is Joe Pastora, 4060 Vincamilda Road. How will this affect our property taxes? Do you know?
Want to answer that, please?
Hi, Joe. A long time no see.
Yes,
I don't think our expectation is that it will have any direct impact on your property taxes. We do hope it will enhance the neighborhood, but we don't see it having any direct impact on your property taxes.
Okay, great. Can I just make one other comment? Sometimes it's very difficult to understand what you're saying. I've complained numerous times about the mics. If you could do something about it, I'd really appreciate it, because we're missing a lot of the very important things you're saying.
Sure, thank you. Yes,
Make a
we'll
note.
look
Thank
into
you.
it. Sure, thank you, Ms. Pastor. Great. Next, Andy Cody. Sorry.
Andy Cody. I guess I'll just list properties. 4300 Vinkie Mulder Road, 4551 Northwest 39th Avenue, 4361 Northwest 39th Avenue, 3910 Northwest 43rd Street, 3920 Northwest 43rd Street, 4000 Northwest 43rd Street. I think you should probably reset the clock. With the number of properties, I'd have probably 18 minutes. I'm not going to take that time. I'm only going to take a couple of minutes. But it takes me longer to list my stuff than 30 seconds. So let's reset the clock, please. There was references to the neighborhood as having residences. In the entire neighborhood, which I actually own probably close to 25% of it, there's only 4 residences that don't have businesses there. So 4. I've been there for over a year, every day. There's only 4 residences that don't have businesses there. They reference workshops for 2023 and 2024. And let me just take a side note and say, I'm not opposed to bettering the neighborhood. I've spent nearly $12 million investing into the neighborhood there. So I'm all for bettering the neighborhood. But the inconsistencies really bother me is that they're referencing workshops in 2023 and 2024 is having 30 to 40 people there, but there's not even 40 folios. And of the people that are there, at least 25% of them are gone because I now have those properties and I wasn't in those meetings. So as a majority, or probably the majority owner of properties down there, I think that it's a moot point on the meetings for 2023 and 2024. The signs that are referenced for trails within the Vinkie Mulder neighborhood, there is no trails within Vinkie Mulder neighborhood. The trails are in Tradewinds, and Tradewinds already has signs. They already have signage. They already have. There's no reason to put Coconut Creek budget. Tradewinds is already using their budget for sign maintenance. So I'm not real sure where the trails would be, because there's roadsides that you ride on to get to Tradewinds. There's no. You can see the overlay if you look at it closely. There's no trails at all. The biggest improvement to the area would be the 5 acres that was referenced a number of times, but there's no real comment or conference or anything like, well, what are we going to do with it? Well, yeah, there needs to be a bigger turnaround. Semi-trucks back from the end of 43rd all the way back down, all the way down 39, and then try to make a left into the south part of Vinkie Mulder Road, or the east, to try to turn around. It's insane, But what's being talked about is shrubbery, and what's being talked about is improving the neighborhood. But the neighborhood has actually been improved substantially. Millions of dollars have been invested in that neighborhood, primarily my money, over the last year. Last thing that I've got is that, and this is mainly just for legal. Maybe it's legal, maybe it's not. But Commissioner Brody is actually on a board within this neighborhood. He's a board member of Tomorrow's Rainbow, who has been for a number of years. Last time that I spoke in front of the commission, he was very, very animated about all of the things that are going on in that neighborhood. And then it turns out that he's actually my neighbor. So for legal posterity, I think that it should be referenced that the Commissioner Brody is actually an active participant within the community. And thanks for your time.
Okay, thank you. Yes. Wait. Yes. Is there another speaker, Mr.
Yes. The next speaker that's under the speaker on this item is Ejola Cook.
Hi. Good evening. Yola Cook. I am the owner of Spanaway Properties, 4201 Vinkie Mulder Road. We operate Spitfire Farm, which is there. First off, I differ sometimes with my esteemed neighbors, but I want to say thank you. I want to say thank you to the commission. Thank you to the consultants who came in, because they did take a lot of time, and I was in those meetings in 23 and 24. I was part of the instigating team for that, and part of that was because of the EVOC development that was coming in, and we had real concerns about these detox centers coming into our community. So I will say, while Mr. Cody has come in later into this discussion, those of us who have been here really appreciate the time and effort. And my farm being a little further back on Winkelmulder, the bridle paths would really mean something for us, because part of our problem is we have kids that come down 39th and almost like drag race, and they don't care about the horses. We've had them try to run us off the roads, trying to get into trade winds. So the development that they've proposed, I think, would be wonderful for our community. And I can tell you, every time somebody comes to visit, the first things they say to me when they come to the farm is, I didn't know this was here. Like, we are this gem in the center of Broward County that we have to hold on to with two hands because it's going away. I see Southwest Ranches, I see Davie. Every time I drive over to Groves, there's less farms. So the fact that the city is taking this into consideration, we really appreciate that. And those of us who have our farms here, it means a lot. And we're here to work with you as community members to keep that area safe for people to enjoy going forward. I did have one reference, and I apologize, I've been out of town. I literally got back from vacation just a little bit ago, which is why I was late. On the ordinance, there's a change that was made from the last few meetings, and I just wanted to make a reference point to it because it doesn't follow in line with statutory language. It's under section 13295 definitions. And it's the definition for the non-residential farm building. I believe it's attempting to work along the lines of, and I apologize, I'm doing it on my phone, 604.50, which is the non-residential farm building statute. That particular statute does have a definition that is non-residential farm building, which seems very similar to the one that we have in our ordinance, except for one huge difference. So under the actual statute, it says non-residential farm building means temporary permanent building or support similar. But the part that's different is says it's located on land that is integral to the part of a farm operation. And then it says or is classified as agricultural land under 193.461. The city's ordinance says it's an is. That has to be a requirement. It's not compliant with the state statute, and I don't believe that the city can actually make it more restrictive than what the statute is. So that would be my only recommendation on a change in the ordinance. Thank you.
Thank you. Anyone else? Mr. Kavanaugh?
Not at this time, Mayor.
Okay, thank you. Is there anyone else that would like to comment on this agenda item? Seeing no one, public hearing is now closed. Thank you. Would staff like to ask any questions of anyone that has spoken?
No.
Thank you very much. Seeing no further comments, I will ask if the commission has any questions, please. Thank you. Yes, I will go. I'll start with Commissioner Rydell, Commissioner Welsh, and then Commissioner Brody. Thank you.
I'm trying to use the cue thing. I don't know if we're still using it. Are we still using that? Oh, I've been hitting it all night. Okay. So I'm going to make a couple comments. Ms. Cook, a couple quick things. I don't want to address your statutory comment. We have staff. We have lawyers. I mean, that's what courts are for things of that nature. I do appreciate you. A little historical perspective for all those in. Mr. Cody, you weren't here. Ms. Cook, I think you just had purchased your stables when this happened. I think on the commission, the only two people that were here at the time where these discussions started were actually me and Sandy. I just want to provide some historical here. When Karen Brooks was our city attorney, our city manager, we had talked about the ability of what that area did and how it should preserve, candidly, like a mini Wellington. And if you look at what that, like how Wellington preserves their green space, their farm space, and what they're trying to do, and why don't we have the features of something like that? So this idea started back in 2020, 2021, and in government it takes a while, especially when you're looking at an overlay district. It wasn't in trigger for Evoke. It wasn't in trigger for halfway houses. It was in response of saying, let's protect exactly what our consultant said, something so unique in Broward County. And that's what started this. I fully support the item tonight, and I just want to speak briefly. Mr. Cody, I appreciate you got an interesting history here. I'll leave it at that. But I will say this, you are a major property owner now. You weren't involved in these public hearings because you didn't own the properties then. So if you did, you would have been. And I don't usually address people in the audience, but I feel it appropriate this evening, and only because you are a significant property owner. I think in what I've learned about you, and Ms. Cook, I think it's also fair to say you're Mr. Cody's lawyer, even though you're a property owner as well. So in the fairness of everyone, I mean, and there's been legal letters back and forth. So I'm not going there tonight. I urge my colleagues not to go there tonight. We don't need to go there tonight because I don't think it's about that. What I do believe, Mr. Cody, about you is I actually think your vision fits in this vision. I believe your vision of what you want to do, and I've never even talked to you one-on-one, I've talked to your lawyer, actually fits in the goal of what we're trying to do here. We may semantically differ in terms of language, use, buildings of this or that, and I'm not talking about that. I'm talking about the goal of what we're doing tonight, and the goal of what we're doing tonight is protecting something that really doesn't exist in many of the 31 cities, I'd say maybe in 2 or 3 of them. Ms. Cook came here because she didn't like the city she used to be in. I say it because I think it's important not to be adversarial. I fully believe, all litigation and posturing aside, that you as a 25% landowner now, Ms. Cook and what she's done in her stable, I think there's other property owners here that chose not to speak tonight. It's all good. The intent of what this city is trying to do, and I can speak for myself, is to protect something that is unique, move it forward in a positive way, and use aspects that will keep it unique. So let's keep the discussion there, because I think if we just start there, a lot of adversarialness, and it's been, and I don't want to go there because I truly believe that the property owners, the invested individuals, all want this to be something so unique and different. And Mr. Cody, you may agree with me, you may not. Your vision is unique. Your vision fits in this. Ms. Cook's vision of the money she spent and upgrading. I know my daughter's best friends ride at her stable. So I'm familiar with it. I'm familiar with what she's done in the neighborhood. My daughter doesn't. There's not a conflict, Madam City Attorney. So she doesn't ride horses. But, you know, I say it because I see the offer that some of these unique people offer to the community. And you know what? They don't live there. Maybe they operate businesses there. Maybe there's residents there. But we need to preserve what's there. And this is the first step to doing that. I support it. And I truly hope all the adversarialness we can work through, because I genuinely believe this is a gem. This starts the protection. I support this item, understanding maybe there's things that we work through in a complementary way, in a together way, but this master plan is needed to protect this, because if this doesn't happen, the neighborhood could be screwed. Part of my language. Thank you, Mayor.
Thank you. Commissioner Welsh.
Yes, and because I think Ms. Cook said the words that describe why the conversations began so many years ago, was because most people don't even realize that this area is there. And those that live there, those that I've known that have lived there before, and those that live there now, I'm sorry the rest of you didn't come and voice your opinion here tonight about how you feel about what this product is that's before us to vote tonight. But I know I attended the meetings where you did come and you did speak, and I've spoken to you subsequently one-on-one. So this is really for you, those of you that live there. I can say personally, I would love to see it keep that genuine uniqueness that it has there. I live next door. I'm one of those 241 homes that live next to you. And then you're there, and then this beautiful county park on the other side of where you are. So it's all about what you want. But I heard you at the community meetings and in one-on-one conversations, and then I've heard those that did come and speak tonight. So we have to base it on what's before us and what we hear in the public meetings. The gem should be preserved. I'm not so sure that I totally chime in with what Commissioner Rydell has presented, and I'm not being adversarial. I'm just saying, because of the restrictions that we are precluded from including in this overlay district due to the state law. I do want to ask Mr. Prophet, if you would, talk about just some examples of, because there's a statement in our text, that the land development regulations may be modified or special conditions of approval may be included within the area to further the special intent of the overlay district. And I know the answer because I got the answer before, but can you provide some sort of examples about what exactly that means that aren't in there tonight, but that could be included in there?
Right. So
that those of them that are here, that are directly involved in the district, can hear it.
So if Senate Bill 180 did not exist, and we were doing an overlay ordinance, in a typical overlay ordinance, you can address development standards, you can address density standards and how many homes per acre, you can address other types of land development code provisions that belong in this area and that may be more unique for this particular area or any overlay that you're doing. However, we have that Senate Bill 180, so that language in the staff report is only just informational, just to provide folks an education about what an overlay ordinance is, because typically people don't know what that means. It's not something we always do, so that's just educational. We, in this particular overlay ordinance, there are no special conditions, there are no special additional, more restrictive code provisions than already exist there now.
What's an example of what one of the special conditions going forward that it could include?
Right. So initially, this ordinance had a more restrictive density, meaning it brought the RS1 property density from 1 home per acre to 1 home per 2 acres. That's no longer in there. The ordinance also had a component to it that required screening of vehicle parking areas and additional landscaping along the frontages to enhance trails and swales in front of the homes. That's no longer in there. So this is just an overlay ordinance that incorporates the master plan and establishes the district.
And I like that you addressed the page of the slide in there about the CIP, the funding, because it's listing in FY26, and that's, I think we know the constraints fiscally that we're operating under this year, so that would not be feasible to expect.
I would like to address that, and I would say, and I apologize, Justin and I have been chatting about that. We had hoped to be able to budget that item, but as you know, and you'll know more fully soon, that our budget this year is going to be relatively tight. So we have proposed that item be clarified over this year and funded for 27.
Because that was my concern based on the community meetings that, and all of the suggestions that the residents that attended. There were things that you listed there that clearly would be of value to those that live there. The enhancements for the landscaping, the entrance, the clearly identified walkways or intersections, and I think that's very important to have the theme, keep the theme, and identify it as a themed area. So we're not going to open up a public hearing there anymore, but I, under the constraints that we're operating now, I hope that it is in favor and is approved tonight, because I think it will at least give one step towards containing the identity of what this special area is for those that live there now or maybe in the future. And thank you for your help. I really appreciate it. But most of all, I appreciate the community input, because you all did really come out in the meetings.
Thank you. Commissioner Brody?
Yeah, I've got to say, normally when we do projects like this, you see that the communities want the world. They want all this stuff for this neighborhood. And I think when we went into this, correct me if I'm wrong, we designed a lot of stuff. You guys designed a lot of stuff to throw in this neighborhood to really enhance it. And the neighbors came back and said, we don't want that, right? Isn't that how it went? I was there. I saw the markings, like, get rid of this. No, we don't want this. So you design down compared to what we were trying to throw into this neighborhood because they want to keep it simple and keep it the way it is as much as possible. So it was really kind of an eye-opener to say that the community had their hands on this. It wasn't the city design. It wasn't an outside resource design. It wasn't our ideas. It was the neighborhood came up with what they wanted. And I think that was the beauty of how this went down, because meeting after meeting and everything that happened was really what the neighborhood wanted. Now, things change as time, but to be honest with you, I think it's a great idea that the neighborhood had control of it. So I kind of like that piece of it. I think that you're going to get what you want by the design of the people who live there. But I will address one thing before we go any further on this. I have no financial obligation to tomorrow's rainbow. I am a non-paid volunteer board member who's been in that neighborhood 4 times this year. That's it. And if you're saying we're neighbors, I guess if we live in Florida, we're neighbors. That's as broad as you can say that, because I live in Winston Park. So it's an untrue statement. I sit on a board to give direction to a nonprofit. Outside of that, I'm never there. 4 times. And so it was to make sure that that's on record, that I have nothing more to do with them than direction of a nonprofit. I don't go pet donkeys and goats and horses. I'm never there. I have no idea what goes on in that neighborhood other than the feedback that I get, which is constant. Outside of that, I wouldn't be able to pick you out in a crowd in Walmart. So I don't know where you think we are with this relationship, that this is a thing. I'm never there. I have no financial obligation once again. I just sit on the board. Most of our meetings are Zoom anyways. And we talk about how we can improve a nonprofit, not the neighborhood. That discussion never comes up. So with that being said, back to you, Mayor.
Thank you. Vice Mayor Wasserman?
Briefly, no, this is good government. This is listening to residents. This is doing everything you have to do to be transparent with residents. And I give, Justin and your team just outstanding, and to the residents who show up and put in the time at those meetings. I think one of those was like a crazy rainy night. Like it was like an insane storm one night, and we had like a packed house in the back. It's just good government, and it's a breath of fresh air. I'll leave it at that. Thank you.
Thank you. I just want to say great job. I think you did an exceptional job of listening to the residents. This is a unique neighborhood, and this will only enhance the neighborhood and preserve it. So thank you for all the residents that came and gave us their input and made this happen. Thank you. So, yes, Madam Attorney.
Thank you, Mayor. I just wanted to say, as it relates to the definition of non-residential farm building, we'll go ahead and take a look at that between first and second reading. Thank you.
Thank you. Anyone else? All right, thank you. Now, comments, deliberation by the Commission on Agenda Item 12, the Vink Mulder Neighborhood Master Plan and amendment to the city's zoning code and zoning map to create the Vink Mulder Equestrian Neighborhood Overlay Area, if none is there, based on the testimony presented and the application's consistency with the city's land development regulations and comprehensive plan. A motion and a second to approve Agenda Item 12.
Motion.
Second.
Okay. All right. Thank you very much. We have a motion to approve by Commissioner Brody and seconded by Vice Mayor Wasserman. I'm now calling for a vote on Agenda Item 12.
Commissioner Rydell?
Yes.
Commissioner Welch?
Yes.
Commissioner Brody?
Yes.
Vice Mayor Wasserman?
Yes.
Mayor Raley?
Yes. Agenda Item 13. We will now hear Agenda Item 13. After I read the resolution title, I will ask for a motion and a second to move them. Resolution 2025-106, a resolution approving the special land use application submitted by Scott Backman of Mescal Backman LLP to permit an approximately 2,800 square foot restaurant with a drive-through use within Block 3 of the Main Street at Coconut Creek Development, legally described in Exhibit A, attached hereto and made a part hereof, quasi-judicial public hearing. Thank you. You have a presentation by?
Yes.
Okay.
Yep.
First, do I have a motion and a second?
Move it.
Was that a move it?
That was a a motion
Second.
made by Vice Mayor Wasserman, seconded by Commissioner Rydell.
And if I could just ask, are there any disclosures for agenda item number 13?
Yes. Well, I did have a meeting with Mr. Beckman. I believe the date was June 16th.
Thank you.
It
And I
has
believe
been
I was
logged.
also present.
Yes.
As well as, I believe it might have been Brian Schmier.
Yes.
I think I had a brief conversation with Scott Backman where I think he specifically advised me he was unable to come to the meeting, and please rake his team over the fire.
I would love to.
I had 2 meetings with Scott for some clarifications, and I also had the green light to, give everybody a hard time.
Okay.
I had just one meeting. It was logged, I believe. Thank you.
PowerPoint.
Thank you, Commissioner, or Vice Mayor Wasserman, and I believe I was in that meeting as well as Scott Backman and Brian Schmier. Yes, and then I know that Commissioner Welch stepped down for a minute, but I believe that she also had a meeting with Scott Backman for the applicant, and I was present along with Brian Schmier. Thank you.
Thank you. Okay. Yes.
So,
We're ready for your presentation.
yeah.
Thank you, Justin Prophet.
Yep, so I'm just going to introduce Liz Aguiar, our Assistant Director of Sustainable Development. She spearheaded this project through our development review process at the Planning and Zoning Board, so she will present a brief presentation tonight. Thank you.
Thank you, Justin. Again, Liz Aguiar, Assistant Director of Sustainable Development. Thank you for allowing me to present. So it's nice to see everyone. I've been kind of tucked away back there behind the big screen, so I've only been able to see Commissioner Rydell and Commissioner Welch. So I can finally look over and say hello to everyone, so thank you. So this evening, we're presenting a special land use for Block 3. Clearly, the City Commission is very familiar with the Main Street area, so I'll try to be brief. You have seen many applications, including the rezoning for this property, the PMDD. You have seen over 11 site plans, including Block 3, which is the subject of our agenda item this evening, which was approved by the City Commission back in August of 2024. And that Block 3 site plan was designed and approved in compliance with the PMDD, the adopted PMDD. And the site plan did include in its design the pickup window only at Building D, and it did include the drive-through lane with the bypass lane. And Block 3 does have the 8 retail buildings, and only this one building is the one with one drive-through in the entirety of Block 3. Just last month, on June 11th, 2025, the Planning and Zoning Board unanimously recommended approval of the special land use request. Overall, staff finds that this agenda item, number 13, complies with the adopted Main Street design standards and meets the standards required for a special land use application. That concludes my presentation, unless you would like to add something, Justin?
No, thank you very much, Liz.
No? I know that there are several members of the developers team here this evening. There's a brief presentation, I think, that they'd like to make. So I'm thinking it's Christina Belinky here from Mescal Backman would be making a brief presentation, but I'm happy to answer any questions now or after they've had an opportunity to present their slides. Thank you.
Are there any questions for staff before the developer's presentation? No? Okay. Thank you. Thank you, Christine. You can present.
For the record, Christina Bolengi of Miskel Backman. My address is 14 Southeast 4th Street in Boca Raton. I have been sworn in and do understand the rules of procedure. It's a pleasure to be here before you this evening for the Block 3 special land use application. I'm going to skip over some of these first few slides as you've seen them probably about 20 times by now. But there's a lot of history with the Main Street project, obviously. Here we are talking about Block 3, which is highlighted in the red dashed line on the screen. It is the southernmost commercial block along Lyons Road. It has been designated as a commercial block on the approved zoning plan that's part of the PMDD, and the commercial blocks as a total have allocated about 105,000 square feet of commercial use. The southern block is just under 10 acres in size and has just over 67,000 square feet of commercial uses allocated to it. Again, this is kind of the roadmap of where we've been. The green blocks are the ones that have been approved to date. Block 3 is one of those, and we have 2 blocks outstanding, so we're certainly making tremendous progress. So this is the Block 3 site plan that was previously approved. It was approved about a year ago, and as Ms. Aguiar noted, we are not changing any of the site features that have been previously approved. The square footage of the buildings are the same, the layout is the same, the parking has not changed, landscaping has not changed. Really, we are here just for the special land use element so that retail building D can have the drive-through. And specifically, we're requesting a drive-through for a fast casual restaurant or a coffee shop. So the drive-through uses will be limited to one of those 2 categories. And so what does that mean? Here we have definitions for both the fast casual restaurant and for a coffee shop. And essentially, we did our traffic analysis based on the ITE rates for these 2 specific categories. So our full analysis was for fast casual restaurant or a coffee shop. It does not include fast food restaurants, which would be under a separate category. So we couldn't have your standard fast food restaurants come into Block 3 or retail building D. So that means no Taco Bell, no Chick-fil-A, no McDonald's, no I said that one already, Burger King, Wendy's, none of those types of fast food uses that you would typically think of when you think of a drive-through. So instead, a fast casual restaurant, that's more something where typically people come in and sit down. They go to a counter, order food, it's prepared in front of them. You select your ingredients as you're going through the line as they're preparing your selections. And again, often people spend 30 to 40 minutes enjoying their meal at these types of restaurants. But they also have pickup counters. Mobile ahead orders are becoming more and more predominant in their business models. And now those mobile kind of order ahead models, you actually have a pickup window where instead of parking your car, getting out of it into the building, grabbing your order from a shelf and going back to your car, you can actually go through a pickup window at a designated time and they'll hand your order to you. So that's essentially what the fast casual restaurant entails. And we have some examples here of Just Salad, Chipotle, Cava, Habit Burger, Panera, Sweet Greens. So those are the types of fast casual uses that could be permitted. And then I think a coffee shop is more self-explanatory. You have your Starbucks, those types of uses where they primarily serve coffee, drinks. They have small food selections, muffins, wraps, things along those lines. And so those types of coffee shops would be allowed to come in here with a drive-through use as well. Here we have the previously approved elevations just to show in context where the drive-through pickup window is located. So it is On the north portion of the building, there is some screening that kind of hides the drive-through component from an outdoor seating area. Here you have it on the flat elevations. And then again, staff has reviewed the application thoroughly and has concluded that it meets the standards of the PMDD, the land development regulations, and the city's comprehensive plan. And with that, our team is here to answer any questions. Again, we're almost through with the majority of the approvals for the site, and we certainly appreciate all of your time to date. Thank you.
Thank you. Does city staff have any questions for the applicant?
Not at this time.
Thank you. Does the applicant have any questions for city staff?
We do not.
Thank you. Okay. We'll now open the public hearing. Are there any members of the public who would like to speak on agenda item 13? Once called upon, please identify yourself, state whether or not you have been sworn in, and whether or not you understand the rules of the proceedings. Anyone wish to speak on this item? Anyone sign up, Mr. Kavanaugh?
Not at this time, Mayor.
Thank you. Seeing none. Public hearing closed. All right. Any remarks from the commission? Vice Mayor Wasserman.
Thank you, Mayor. I just had one, and I know we spoke about it in our meeting. So Coral Tree Circle, the road, is that going to interfere with the entrance to this area, or is it more? Can we bring up?
I don't have an aerial, but I'm trying to bring up this site
I think it's like
plan.
early on. It's like one of the first slides.
Oh, I guess we could, yes, we could go back.
Coral Tree's further south. It's not going to interfere, yes?
Yes, Commissioner, Coral Tree is further south than this entrance.
Okay. And in terms of the neighborhood, just north, that would be too north for this entrance, is that correct?
The entrance to Coquina?
No, the
Riviera Palms.
The apartments. Just south. No. Justin knows what I'm talking about.
You're talking about Riviera Palms?
Yeah.
That's what they're called, Riviera Palms. Thank you, the rental community. And there is an entrance for that, and I know they have a roundabout in their little area. So leaving there, there's a cross to cross lines. What's that going to look like for them? Are they allowed to, is that this road? Is that this entrance, Justin? Or Christine? No?
Yeah, it is. The Riviera Palms entrance is across from the southeast access point to the shopping center.
And that access point is basically your main drive-through. Would be the one you would coordinate or correlate with the drive-through.
Some of the traffic would go through there, yes.
Okay. Are we looking at what we're going to do with that intersection for this now that we're putting in a drive-through? We're increasing traffic, cars are coming, cars are going. Is there anything that's going to be done there? I know I spoke about it in our meeting. I know the plan's already been passed. I understand that, but I just want to see if there's any clarity in this with that.
Yeah, I mean, I think what the applicant should probably talk about is the right-out only restriction.
Yeah. So we are not currently changing any access for the communities located on the east side of Lyons Road. So if they're able to go north, if they're able to go south on Lyons Road, those conditions will be the same for them. We are making some median improvements to the middle of Lyons Road. None of that will impact their access. There is a current restriction on the plat for this specific access point that restricts turning movements to right in only and right out only. So the only vehicles that can access through this access point by the drive-through are vehicles going southbound, making that right in from Lyons Road, and then they're only going to be able to make the right out.
So if I'm going north on Lyons, I can't turn left in?
You would have to go to 40th Street, which is to the north, and make the turn onto 40th Street and into Block 3 that way.
Okay, or make a U-turn. Is there, Brian?
Potentially.
There's a left in. Brian should come up.
Sorry, Brian Schmier, 2200 Butts Road, Suite 300, Boca Raton, Florida. I've been sworn in. There's an existing median cut on Lyons in front of Coral Tree that's currently marked as a U-turn on the aerial map. But we're talking about, and there's also a left-in at the main entrance. So when I just wanted to correct, when you said going all the way to 40th and make a U-turn, you could still make a left into the project on northbound Lyons at the main entrance, which is somewhere in the middle. I just wanted to clarify that because there is left-in off of northbound Lyons prior to 40th Street.
Into the most southeastern entrance.
Yes.
Okay. So we could turn left. Going north, we could turn left in. Going south, we could turn right in. Okay? People from the neighborhood can cross over. Okay? Can they cross over and go straight into that plaza?
No, that they would not, I don't believe, would be able to do because that's where the, let me see if I can say that. Is Chris here? No.
Chris is not. Nick is here.
Nick's here.
So you're talking about between F1 and G?
Yeah, so there's a, sorry, to be clear, there's a left-in between F1 and G on the current plan. There is a, am I correct in saying there's a left-in between D and E?
No, it's restricted to right-in right out.
That's the question, is between D and E. If I'm going north on Lyons, can I turn left?
No, Christina said that's the one that's restricted.
Okay.
Yeah, but also I just wanted to clarify something too in terms of the initial comment about the additional traffic created by the drive-through. I just want to be clear. The plan that was originally approved, the traffic statement that accompanied that plan, already incorporated all of the traffic in excess of what is already there. So the incremental traffic of a drive-through is perception. It's already in the traffic analysis of the plan that's currently approved.
I
just want to be clear that we're not asking for more approvals. It's already loaded into the traffic analysis.
Got it. I understand. Thank you. So one of the things that's been going on. I mean, there's a lot of talk with our residents of accidents. People left, right, this, that, and it's happening. We know it's happening. I don't want to. God forbid it happens, but it's happening in our city. It's happening on a lot of intersections. So this is a slight concern of the people coming out of the neighborhood. If they can, it's just, I don't know. It might be above me. Obviously it is because you guys are the professionals doing this. But I just, as a resident, these are things I think about, and I just hope that with the left going and the right, the people crossing, that there is like a foolproof plan here. Right, that can make sure that there is no misunderstanding. And Sheila, Madam Rose, maybe you can address. But I'll leave it at that. I appreciate it. I'm very excited, and I'm a resounding yes. Thank you.
Just for clarity, the driveway that is closest to the drive-through will be marked right turn out only, so it would not provide for that left turn. So you could turn in right and turn out right, but it would not allow for the cross traffic.
But if I'm leaving the neighborhood, I could be in the middle of the intersection while somebody's turning left into the plaza. So
I think we'll need to see the diagram.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you. Anyone else? Yes. Okay. Commissioner Rydell.
So I want to kind of just streamline the discussion. I respect everything Commissioner Vice Mayor Wasserman just said, but this is, this is approved. This is an approved block. You're just coming in for an enhancement in the block, so
That's
traffic's
correct.
approved, flows in, it's approved. So we can't re-legislate any of that. Fair?
Fair.
Great. So totally support this. I've sat through a lot of drive-through meetings historically. I've never seen a limitation. Love the limitation. Fully supportive of a limitation. And Madam City Attorney, walk us through how that's codified in any future business that comes there in terms of the restriction on the property. I know it's rhetorical, but I just want it formally on the record that the applicant is agreeing to that this is going to be a restriction, in perpetuity.
It's a condition of approval, so it is a requirement for the approval of the special land use.
Meaning that if, hypothetically, the Main Street team has a vendor in there that's, Habit Burger, very good, by the way. I recommend to all in Boca. Very good burger.
Very good.
And they're examples. But I digress. If another business comes in, they're still restricted by the limitation on drive-through. Agreed?
Correct. And
Okay.
again, that restriction is on page 2 of the ordinance under section 3, number 2.
So you wrote it in the current ordinance that we're approving tonight regarding the hours. So I'd like to just talk to my colleagues briefly about that, because I think it's an important thing. How you wrote in the ordinance is exactly what staff recommendation is 6 to 11 Sunday to Thursday and 6 to 12 on Friday and Saturday. That's how you wrote it in, right?
Correct. That's
Okay.
what's in the ordinance.
So I'm not done with my comments, but I just want to throw it to everybody. I think that should be 5:30. And let me tell you why, because if it's a coffee shop, the only person that would utilize an earlier opening time would be a coffee shop. And I know that we may or may not have a local coffee shop that's interested in this spot. I know that we have other businesses. I think a coffee shop, and again, I'll get to Brian in a minute, but I think that could be a great use for Main Street. Somebody could interconnect, not just on the block, but they can come from, block 5, they can come from the townhomes, stay totally in the interior. I would suggest, and I'm just curious if there would be consensus on this, to move that to 5:30. I don't think it does anything for an overnight or a 24-hour business. It's not that, but it facilitates. If a coffee shop wants to come in and they're thinking like, oh, I don't want to have a headache of going to a commission to get an extra half hour, and I say it because it's legislative, I think it's an easy change that we can make to potentially draw business. So I'd be supportive to make it 5:30.
I was actually going to include that in my comments.
Okay, so that would be my consensus I'll make a motion at the time to do that, just that I would say I like that. I think the last time publicly, Brian, I just want to say this to you, I think I may have been a little harsh on you maybe last time publicly, a little bit. Totally flawed. I think you're a genius. I think what you've done to some of the businesses that are coming in here, I have to give you beyond kudos, because some of the things that have gone on, the inner workings of this, businesses and businesses you're drawing, what you've done in other projects that I've analyzed, you are an amazing partner with the city. Thank you for your dedication, and I truly look forward to whatever vendor you're going to bring here, because I think your reputation precedes you now, and maybe I didn't see that when maybe it was a little rude, maybe a couple months ago, so I apologize for that. But what you've been able to do in terms of tentative businesses that we have, I love it. I love this. I love the restriction. Fully support it this evening. I will make the motion after everyone's comment. Thank you, Mayor.
Commissioner Brody?
Can I just quickly?
Oh, I'm sorry, Commissioner Welch.
You got to get that button fixed. Thank you very much. No, I agree totally about the 5:30 for the beginning hours. I'm very, very happy that staff dialed back the closing hours, because I think that would, regardless of which use goes in there, would not really be a work comparable to whatever else is going on in the other drive-throughs that we have in the city. I just want to ask one question. It's a 7,000 square feet in total for the entire building. So would it be possible that, is this drive-through only limited to the 2,800 square feet? I mean, is it possible that there could be someone in there that would or could accommodate a larger piece of that entire retail building?
So the analysis was done based on a restaurant with 28,000 square feet. That's how all of, or 2,800 square feet. Thank you.
I was going to say, boy, it just
that
got
would be
bigger.
very large.
Maybe it's 3 stories.
So yeah, all of our analyses were done based on that figure, contemplating, the restaurants that could go in there, and understanding that's probably about the maximum square footage that they would be willing to take on. Anything larger than that, I do think we would need to come back before you.
In a different use, restaurant use type. Okay, and the queuing, I don't think anyone talked about the queuing, because as a concern in getting the folks in and out, right turn only, that you've gone above and beyond in that regard. I mean, it's more than twice, almost 3 times as much. So I think that's very important. But whoever goes in there will need to be quick, get people in and get them out. But I too like some of the optional choices that you've selected. I have a couple that are my favorite, but I won't go there. I have one that would not be. But I really appreciate it, and appreciate the work and the devotion, and even the rumors of things that we've heard coming in are very exciting. And we don't disclose. So thank you.
Perfect. Thank you.
Commissioner Brody.
All right, first I'm going to say, Brian, this is a recorded meeting, and I think what Mr. Rydell's words should be your new ringer for your phone. Second of all, David, are you awake back there? Okay, because when we write the article, yeah, Dave Volt's here, and tap into, if you're listening, let's get this right this time, because they wrote an article that was absolutely misleading. I don't usually call the press out like this, but they got it wrong. Okay, you guys, for the record, I know Scott told you my feelings on wanting to read that into the record. It was so important to understand what the drive-through possibilities were and what the possibilities were not going to be. Obviously, Dwayne knows the pain of a Taco Bell. So we wanted to make sure that this was on the record, so kudos to you for doing it. Mr. Volz, let's make sure we get it right in your article when you write this about what drive-through things are going to be here. If you need to get that list because you're playing on your phone, they'll wait afterwards. Make sure you get that list, all right? Because I want to make sure this one gets right. All right? I had too many phone calls and sent too many nasty text messages to Sheila Rose. So kudos to that. It's important that we have the right drive-through going through there. I think that, when we start talking a $1 billion project, we need to have the kind of items in that retail that are going to fit a $1 billion idea. So thank you for making sure that was read into the record. And to be honest with you, you guys have been doing a fabulous job. And let's start getting some shovels in the dirt soon.
Thank you. Thank you. I just want to go on record that, Brian, I recognized your genius from the onset. And your team. I want to say the entire, and our staff, thank you so much. This has been a daunting task to get Main Street on the map, literally, and great job, staff, and our new neighbors. Thank you.
I can't pass up an opportunity to speak. I do need a recording of this so I can play it for my wife when I get home. But I really appreciate it. These are retail, unlike other asset classes. We have to design it, lease it, and then get it while we simultaneously get it approved. And there's a lot of trust and faith that you have to put into us, that and me in this case, to know that we're going to deliver the type of project and tenants that you're looking for. This conditional land use that we're here for tonight, drive-throughs are always controversial, but this is giving us the flexibility for me to fulfill the promise that I made to you, that we are going to deliver a retail project with the type of tenant mix that would be commensurate with the quality and expectation that you're looking for in Main Street. There was a comment before, I forgot who said it, about rumors of other tenants. I have never been more excited about the opportunities and the interest level that we've had in leasing this project, and there may be some additional twists and turns over the next few months, but I can only tell you that they are extremely exciting, and if I do my job well, I might be back in front of you for the 300th time for a few other tweaks and changes here, but we're very, very excited. This plan that we've created will really allow us to deliver on the vision of Main Street and kind of, and hopefully meet your expectations. So I'm really excited, and thank you for all the kind words. I appreciate it.
Great, thank you. And how does Creek Crossing sound to everybody?
For a restaurant?
No, I'm changing the name from Main Street to Creek Crossing.
I'd rather on this item tonight.
Just throwing it out there. Thank you.
You just caused somebody maybe in Mexico to have a stroke, so roll back that, Jackie.
Any further comments from Commission? Anyone else? Anyone from the public? Thank you. Mr. Kavanaugh, please call the roll.
If I could really quickly before you vote on it.
I apologize. I'm actually going to move to amend the item, Mayor, if I may.
Yeah.
I'm going to move to amend the item to roll back the opening time to 5:30 from 6. So I moved to make an amendment to the. I moved to make an amendment to change it from 6 on all days to 5:30.
I'll second that.
Okay. Thank you. Any discussion on that motion? Okay. Mr. Kavanaugh?
Madam Mayor?
Yes.
If I may, if you go in the resolution to number 5C, it says a coffee shop drive-through may open at 5:30 daily. And I just wanted to clarify, is the motion for both fast casual and coffee shops, or is it just for coffee shops?
I would be making the motion for both, and I'll give you an example, and just to say it, and Brian Brian, correct me if I'm wrong. For example, Panera, while I believe they're classified as fast casual, they also serve as a coffee shop, and people go there for coffee. So unless anyone has anything they want to raise their hand on and discuss, I'd be making a global motion that for anything that goes there, they have the option of opening for 5:30 with the understanding that certain businesses are just not going to, but I don't want to caveat that or carve that out of certain prospective tenants Mr. Schmier has. So the motion is to move for all uses to 5:30 a.m.
And we have a second on that.
Second.
Thank you. Okay. Any further discussion? Any questions? Okay, now we will vote on the amendment.
Commissioner Rydell?
Yes.
Commissioner Welch?
Yes.
Commissioner Brody?
Yes.
Vice Mayor Wasserman?
Yes.
Mayor Raley?
Yes. Thank you. Now we will vote. Now, after comments and deliberation by the Commission on Agenda Item 13, the Main Street of Coconut Creek Block 3 Special Land Use Application. If none, is there based on the testimony presented and the application's consistency with the Main Street PMDD and the city's land development regulations and comprehensive plan. A motion and a second to approve Agenda Item 13, the Main Street at Coconut Creek Block 3 Special Land Use Application.
Move it.
Thank you.
Second.
We have a motion and we have a second. Thank you. Any further discussion? Mr. Kavanaugh, please call the roll.
Commissioner Rydell?
Yes.
Commissioner Welch?
Yes.
Commissioner Brody?
Yes.
Vice Mayor Wasserman?
Yes.
Mayor Raley?
Yes. Thank you. 14, Resolution 2025-099, a resolution authorizing the mayor and the city manager or designee to execute the Third Amendment to the Transportation System Surtax Interlocal Agreement among Broward County, the Broward County City Managers Association, Inc., and the City of Coconut Creek. Is there a motion and a second?
Motion.
Move it. Second.
Okay. Moved by Commissioner Brody, seconded by Commissioner Rydell. Thank you. Mr. Mike Rigetti.
Yes.
From Sustainable Development will make the report.
Okay. Good evening, Madam Mayor, members of the Commission, Michael Rigetti, Sustainable Development Department. Before you tonight is a Third Amendment to the city's ILA with the surtax. This is essentially driven by the Broward County City Managers Association that we're essentially trying to attempt an effort to provide a more equitable distribution of the surtax funds countywide. This includes, but is not limited to changes in some of the definitions, some of the projects that would be eligible, and then defining the minimum annual guarantee. So just as a couple examples regarding eligibility, standalone sidewalks, bike paths, greenways that are used for transportation. Think about Main Street and the greenway that we have that's going to circle that. That would be a project that in the future would be eligible. Parking structures, another potential Main Street issue. Regarding microtransit, this amendment actually talks about funding mechanisms to help support microtransit. I also want to point out that there are certain criteria and limitations as it comes to funding for microtransit. And then regarding a grant match program, they're also allowing cities to seek surtax funding to match competitive funding programs. And before the end of the month, they're going to be having a workshop on that grant match opportunity. So you'd be able to take advantage of maybe more than one funding source to help the city. Cities should be proud of their efforts. Since the inception of 2018, we have received in excess of $20 million with either design or construction funding as part of surtax. And this amendment just helps strengthen some of the definitions and projects that are part of that program and what the city will pursue going forward. So I'd be happy to answer any questions the Commission may have. Thank you.
Thank you. Yes.
I don't have a
Commissioner
question, I have
Welch.
a comment. I just want to thank you for all your efforts and work throughout that time in accumulating that amount of money coming to the city. And your work doesn't go unnoticed, so anyway, thank you. Appreciate it. It is kind of, it's not really embarrassing. I'm proud since I've been on the MPO because Coconut Creek has really risen to the top in the projects and the funding that it has received, not just with this type of funding, but with others. And so I know you were instrumental in a lot of that. Thank you.
Thank you. Anyone else? Thank you. Mr. Kavanaugh, would you call the roll, please?
Commissioner Rydell?
Yes.
Commissioner Welch?
Yes.
Commissioner Brody?
Yes.
Vice Mayor Wasserman?
Yes.
Mayor Raley?
Yes, thank you. Okay, then. Bringing it home. A motion to appoint a voting delegate. Oh, I'm sorry. Where am I? Oh, 15. Skipped one. Sorry. All right, sorry. Item number 15, ordinance 2025-023. It's the first reading. City Attorney Pyburn, please.
Thank you, Mayor Raley. An ordinance of the City Commission of the City of Coconut Creek, Florida, amending the city's Code of Ordinances by amending Chapter 13 Land Development Code, Article 1, Administration, Regulations, and Procedures, Division 2, Administration, Section 13-16, Planning and Zoning Board, to add economic development as an optional criteria for Planning and Zoning Board membership, providing for conflicts, providing for severability, providing for codification, and providing an effective date.
Move it.
Thank you. Moved by Commissioner Welch, seconded by Commissioner Rydell.
So as you may recall, when the charter changes came before you, I believe the end of May and beginning of last month, it was discussed that the Charter Review Board made a suggestion of adding economic development amongst the list of disciplines that it was recommended for kind of selection, if you will, for membership or for serving on the Planning and Zoning Board. The Charter Review Board doesn't have the power to make changes to the code, but that was a recommendation, and so this is before you at this time for your consideration, separate from the Charter Review Board, but at their recommendation that you consider adding this. Again, it's not a requirement, it's just a recommendation to list this among the many disciplines, which include other types of things like architecture, construction, engineering, environmental science, et cetera, as listed in Section 13-16 of the city's code.
Thank you. Any questions? Any comments? Commissioner Rydell?
I fully support this. So I don't know if my colleagues do. I fully support this. You know, I don't know. No one had any comment. I don't know. So, what? I sense hesitation. Is there hesitation on this?
No.
Oh,
No.
I have nothing else. I got like a sense of facial expressions. I apologize.
I do. Now, this is strictly a recommendation. Even though we vote on it, this is just a recommendation. It's not a codified qualification, or will it be a codified qualification?
This is a codified recommendation, if you will. It's kind of both. So the idea is that in the future, if somebody applies to be on the Planning and Zoning Board, this is one of the items or one of the disciplines that is suggested that be an option for membership.
Exactly. It's an option, but it's not
it's not required.
Written in stone qualification.
Right.
Not required.
It's not required.
Thank you.
It provides you with flexibility, that's all.
Great. Any other questions or comments? Mr. Kavanaugh, please call the roll.
Commissioner Rydell?
Yes.
Commissioner Welch?
Yes.
Commissioner Brody?
Yes.
Vice Mayor Wasserman?
Yes.
Mayor Rowley.
Yes. Now, 16, a motion to appoint a voting delegate to attend and vote at the Florida League of Cities annual business session to be held during the annual conference on August 14th to the 16th, 2025. Is there a motion and a second?
Move it.
Second.
Moved by Commissioner Rydell, seconded by Commissioner Welsh. Are there any members of the public who wish to speak on this item? No. Are there any nominations for the FLC voting delegate?
I nominate Commissioner Welsh.
A second?
I'll second that.
Okay. Thank you.
I'd just like to say I appreciate that. I don't know that I've been one of the delegates up to now, so
Okay.
I appreciate it.
Do you accept the nomination?
I'm thinking about it.
Okay.
Yes, I will.
All right. Please call the roll. Any further comments? Okay.
Commissioner Rydell.
Yes.
Commissioner Welch.
Yes.
Commissioner Brody.
Yes.
Vice Mayor Wasserman.
Yes.
Mayor Rowley.
Yes. Thank you. Now for the city manager's report.
Oh, greetings. The great news is we're making great progress working through the budget, and I am required to work through a consensus with you this evening. So on an annual basis, we're required to submit a preliminary millage rate, the fire assessment, and the single-family solid waste rates to the property appraiser by early August. These rates are included in the truth in millage, or the trim notice, that are mailed to all the property owners in August. The trim notice is used to inform taxpayers of their potential property tax and assessments due for the upcoming year. As such, tonight I'm seeking the Commission's consensus on the millage, fire assessment, and single-family solid waste rates to be included in the trim notice for fiscal year 2026. Per Florida statutes, the actual rates approved may be lower than the rates included in the trim notice, but cannot be higher. The millage rate for 2025, we are seeking consensus to include the rate of 6.8988, which is the same as our current millage rate. Maintaining our current millage rate will allow us to continue our efforts to accumulate the funds necessary to address our 3 priority projects, including the fire station construction, the police department remodel, and the Main Street obligations, as well as our personnel and operating expense increases. Additionally, we're seeking a consensus on an increase to the fire assessment of 10%. For single-family homes, the recommended rate of $333.26 represents an annual increase of $30.30 from the current rate of $302.96 per year. This increase is needed to fund the annual increase in the cost to provide fire protection services. Single-family solid waste assessment. Lastly, for the single-family solid waste assessment, we are recommending a rate of $326.54, which represents an increase of approximately 4.5% or $14.06 per year. Staff continues to work on the FY26 proposed budget and capital improvement program. As we solidify the numbers, we'll be bringing forth our final recommendation at the budget workshop, which is scheduled for August 11th, 2025, to have a more detailed discussion. Again, the final rates may be lower than what is on the trim notice, but they cannot be higher. So with that said, I would like to ask for a consensus first on the millage rate we are proposing. Do I have a consensus to include a rate of 6.8988 on the trim notice for FY 2026?
Yes.
So I'm seeing a consensus. Joe? Unanimous consensus on that item.
Unanimous.
Next, let's move to the fire assessment. Do I have a consensus to include a 10% increase on the trim notice for FY 2026?
So, Madam Rose, yeah, the answer is yes, but to be clear, just, because people are listening, this is going to be a formal item on the agenda that will be voted on.
Absolutely. This sets the
I just
trim
want to
notice.
clarify that while you're bringing up a consensus, which we all agree with, this is a formal item that the public will be notified and they can come and speak.
Yes.
Thank you, Madam Rose. I give
And
consensus.
it can't be higher. That's important. Yes.
And lastly, do I have a consensus to include a rate of $326.54 on the trim notice for the single-family solid waste assessment for FY 2026?
Yes.
So I see consensus on all three items, and I would like to thank Peter Gay for staying all night for that information. So I certainly appreciate it. I have no further report.
Okay. Thank you. Madam Attorney?
Thank you, Mayor, Vice Mayor, Commissioners. I just wanted to point out that on June 26, I sent a memorandum just with an overview of the 2025 legislation that impacts the city. I did not include the ad valorem tax information because at that time it was just being finalized and had not yet been voted on. Clearly, we got some additional information earlier in this meeting from our state representative. But I just wanted to share that with you, and if for some reason you overlooked it or didn't see it, I'm happy to provide it to you. And if you have any questions, I'm here for you. Thank you.
Thank you. Okay. Commissioner Rydell.
I'll be super brief. I want to wish our mayor a happy belated birthday.
Thank you. Appreciate it.
Obviously, there's some unique things that I'll be coming to our staff with regarding the solid waste issues and waste management as the weeks tick on. That'll update everybody on accordingly when it becomes ripe and due. There's been a couple resident issues that our city manager and our deputy city manager have been working on regarding artificial grass and berms and things like that. I know a couple of my colleagues are tied on some of these. Some in my district, some out of my district, but I think they're global issues that are going to affect a lot of HOAs. So I think in the coming weeks, I'll just share this publicly. I think Mr. Stoudemire's been running point on that. He'll share just some of these issues. I don't need to share anything that I've been at because there's been a lot. I will be I've never missed a solid waste meeting yet. July 18th is a meeting. I'll be out of the country. They may be rescheduling it because the past two they haven't even had quorum on, which is super disappointing. So it's on the Solid Waste Authority front, which is the only update I'll provide. It's really difficult on something so important that certain cities are just not participating, and the resident participation we're getting is from 3 cities. It's from Southwest Ranches, it's from debatably Pembroke Pines and Coconut Creek. So it's just super frustrating that on something of great public importance, you're having elected officials show up for one day and be, and I get it, very upset they don't feel involved in the process when you're dragging them in. So I don't want to belabor anything. I know we're going to be on break for the next month. Happy summer break, everybody. I look forward to updating everybody through our leadership staff.
Thank you. Commissioner Welch.
And just for the record, City Attorney, I didn't overlook what you sent, nor did I throw it away. I haven't looked at all of it. Just had to say that.
Thank you.
I won't talk about things that we've gone and done, but I would like to say the retirement for Officer Brian Valenti that the police put on was just next to none. It was incredible, and it was very fitting. So kudos to everyone that did that. Not about solid waste, but there might be a public school that is participating, Commissioner Rydell, like North Broward Prep, in the waste diversion. I'm hoping that Mike Heimbeck went with me to ATC, and they are extremely interested because they have a unique situation there where they have the culinary school and the students with the adult and the high school students. So they're going to take a tour, actually, of North Broward Prep and see how the pieces of it could fit in there. And hopefully when we come to our budget meeting, that they will have enough skin in the game to be considered as a piece of the pilot for food waste diversion. So I wanted to thank Mike Heimbeck for going because he was extremely instrumental in getting them interested. And then I do want to ask if I can get consensus from since we're doing a lot of consensus tonight. I was invited to an inaugural Project Civility National Summit. It's going to be held at the end of September, and the reason I'd like to go is I'd like to be a part of the framework for Coconut Creek becoming an official Project Civility Alliance city. we're always doing firsts, and I think this would put us in line with one of them. And so there's that. It's in Carmel, Indiana. You probably would never want to go there, but I'm not going there for the ambiance. But I just thought that it was of interest, and we've done a lot of firsts in what our city is leading, and why not lead in some civility?
Do you feel like you embody civility?
You know what? I'm very open to anything that's going to help our city.
Okay. I give consensus to Sandy to be a civility ambassador.
Commissioner Brody? Well, thank you very much.
You've got
I appreciate
my
it.
consensus.
Have a good evening.
Okay.
I hope not.
Are you done, Commissioner Wells? We'll move on to Commissioner
I
Brody.
got nothing. I'm good. Let's go home, go to bed.
All right.
Jeez.
Let's do it. A few very quick things. I'm super pumped about what's happening in South Creek right now. Lots of good stuff. But we have, and I spoke to Scott about this. I know he's here. He's just behind the screen. He's there. I saw his blue pants. I knew he was there. But no, Burlington is coming, and it's nice. It's a big box. People are very excited in the community. The only problem I'm having, and I spoke to Scott about this, is the parking. And this plaza is bringing in a big box store. The plaza, it should hopefully encourage, maybe a couple restaurants or little fast things to pop up in there. But the parking in front of Burlington is just disgusting. There are no lines. It's the Wild West. And to me, quality of life is really important, especially when you go shopping. And I think we should put a little pressure on the property manager to fix those parking spaces, to beautify that a little bit. If they're so excited about this business coming in, we should there he is. That's kind of my take. And I know we spoke about it, but this is just, I would like to see some effort. I mean, they took care of the flooding, which is great, and I know we fought hard for that. There are little pockets of water here, but it doesn't pool like it used to, so that's a huge accomplishment for us. But now I'm like, let's jazz it up. Let's do it. Thank you, Commissioner Rydell. That was very kind.
And just for the record, they have been phasing some of the parking lot improvements. There are code cases.
There are code cases that we could do
that are already in place at the plaza for the conditions of the parking lot, the landscaping, and they've got phased improvements that they will be doing. So pressure is being applied appropriately.
Cool. We should meet with Steve. We should meet with Darby soon. We haven't met with him this year yet.
I'm sure he'd be glad to come in.
Cool. That'd be great.
Okay.
Let's do it. He would be happy to come in.
Yes, I'll get that set up.
Thank you. Another thing, Creek Cuisine. I know we won't be here until it rolls out. I know it'll start in August, and our next meeting will be August 7th. So we're super excited about it. The team's it's just going to be great. We're very excited. Last thing, I did go to the Lakewood East meeting about parking, and I kind of wanted to just have a conversation with everybody up here because I always try, for me, the residents in District A, they might go to other people, but a lot of them look at me as their representative, and I think same thing for Winmore or Coquina or wherever. So, what? Oh, that was. Oh no, I didn't. I thought it was Josh. Another commissioner was there, and for me, it kind of boxed me in because I was unable to kind of. It got a little heated, it got a little hot, and I always kind of defer to the commissioner of their area when they're doing something, and I would like a little bit of grace with that as well when things are happening in my district, because you don't want to violate sunshine, and you don't want to put yourself in a compromised situation, because the topic, it got heated, it got energetic, and I kind of had to toe the line of how I spoke. So I respect everybody. You know, it's a citywide election. Everybody votes, but we do have the pockets of people that do look at us as their person. So I would just like a little grace if something's going on in District A, that maybe if there's a meeting, maybe reach out to the city manager to see if, you know, just to avoid that sunshine. If it's not something that's coming to us, I guess it's a little different. But this is coming to us, and it just, I don't know. I've only been doing this for 2 years. Some people have been doing it a lot longer. But that's just my take on, and if I'm open for discussion.
Well, I was the commissioner that was there, so I'll be happy to address it, and I'm sorry that if it made you uncomfortable. I did not speak publicly. I was there simply as an observer, because I'd gone to the other meeting. And I know when the meetings were held over in the park, other commissioners went. I didn't go to that one. So I didn't. I'm sorry if it made you uncomfortable and you weren't able to speak as you freely felt you could. But by my not speaking outwardly, I didn't feel like I was just following the rest of the process, to tell you the truth. So I apologize if it made you uncomfortable.
Didn't want to. I toed the line to try not to show my cards to them of how I would have supported them.
No,
because
I
you were
respected what you said and how you handled it, actually, because they obviously had some extreme opinions, and we had talked at the last meeting when it was tabled that they needed to decide. So I was kind of curious to see what in the world did they decide. Because they not only do come to our meetings, as you know, but anyway, if it made you uncomfortable, I'm sorry.
I didn't say your name. I just said Commissioner, but I appreciate you speaking.
Well, I'm fine.
All right,
I'm
cool.
fine.
Thank you, Commissioner Rydell.
Well, I think that's a fine line. I think if the city's sponsoring a meeting, any of us have the right to go. Candidly, I agree, Commissioner Wasserman and Vice Mayor Wasserman. I appreciate what you said. I agree and disagree. I think that needs to be orchestrated through the city manager's office. And I'll give you an example. We've done some things, in North Creek, and there's been some community meetings, and we've done it specifically. And I think this could be, because all of us want to show involvement, it could be something that we maybe go to the beginning of a meeting, and the understanding is, okay, it's your meeting in the last hour, we may show up for a half hour. And I know through City Manager Blasey and Brooks, that has been orchestrated in different parts of the city, and people have left to not prevent sunshine. But I think, candidly, if it's a city-sponsored event, as an ambassador of civility, I think we all have the right of being there. But to speak your right, because sunshine precludes us from saying things. So I just think that could be really orchestrated well with Madam Rose, for example. At that meeting, I wasn't at it, but maybe Sandy wanted to show her involvement, could go, and then you could be alone there to actually say what you need to say. So I think there's a healthy medium, but I do agree with you, Vice Mayor, that obviously we have districts for a reason. But I think that we don't do many city-sanctioned community events, and I think civility matters, and I think this is a kumbaya moment. Thank you. And I look forward to all the wonderful things Sandy's going to bring home from her seminar.
I cannot wait.
And I certainly will take that on. I think one of the things that staff could do better is announce the potential conflict at the beginning and set the ground rules. So we'll do that.
Sounds like a plan. Great. Thank you. Thank you, everyone, for your birthday wishes. I do want to say that the retirement party that was held for Officer Valente at JA was exceptional, and that just solidifies one of the motions we had this evening, the interaction between city and our schools. So that was great. What do they call it? We were reciprocal. So I thank you all. We are taking a break. Everyone going on vacation, safe travels. Thank you. Anyone have anything further to say before we adjourn?
Motion to adjourn.
Thank you. Meeting adjourned.